This is RPMMO Radio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about role-playing and MMO RPGs.
I like what you got. Good job!
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Strafe, and Kishmas.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players. Holy shit. Welcome to RPMMO Radio. This is our 50th episode. Let's not talk politics. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and with me, as always, is the entire crew for this, the milestone event. Jazz, Kishmas, Sib, and the Strafe, and what is the music never repeats and such. There we go. So, thanks everybody for joining us. Let's not talk about politics while we're here. How about that? Does everyone sound good with that?
No problem. Bye.
That is the rule that you do not talk politics ever. So let's do that.
Cool. So I'll see y'all later tonight.
Let's do that. Let's do it anyway. What do you say? You know, I don't even care if I get kicked out of this guild. I'm going to talk about it anyway. How's that sound?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we, of course, like I said, our RPMMO Radio. We appreciate everybody tuning in live every Saturday at 7 Central Time over at twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio. If you'd like to join us and call in live, you can do that at rpmmoradio.com/Discord. Just join us in there. Throw yourself in our caller waiting room where our call screener, Rahanar, who is now fully functional, will be there to make sure your stuff works and that you're not a robot or some sort of crazy racist. Because apparently that's something we have to call screen against.
Yes.
Thank you, Rahanar.
Thank you, Rahanar.
So thank you guys for that. Because this is our 50th episode, and really, I mean, is anybody surprised we're even here? I mean,
yes.
Anybody other than me? I really.
I was shocked.
It's a shot in the dark when we started it a year and a half ago. So, hey, I guess it was all right. Half-brained ideas do work. Remember, follow your dreams unless they're awful.
I know 2/3 of the group did not think it was going to make
Back when there was only 3 of us.
Yeah.
I knew when you invited me and Kishmas it was going to go well, so hey, I'm not surprised.
See, yeah, we just needed more men. That's really what the show needed. Was more sausage.
Yeah, right.
Testosteronies,
yeah. So, with that, I want to give special thanks to our Patreon donors, not just the usuals, which of course we will also thank, but I want to thank every single one of you that have joined us on Patreon. TK Dean, Gangsy Girl, Jordan, Lauren FM, Cameron Chan, Scribble MMO, RPHQ, and Killian Ace. I want to thank all of you guys, but of course, especially the big 2 on a raid boss level, that guy Lazza and a Truth Bob. Really, thank you all of you guys that have thought enough of us to support us financially with your hard-earned money.
Yes,
it does mean a lot.
So much.
It really does. It helps keep the show paid for. It helps motivate us to know that for whatever reason, there's people out there that think it's good enough to actually give money that they have to go to a job for and give some of that hard-earned stuff to us so that we can continue doing this to entertain them a little bit. It really does mean a lot. And if you want to become a Patreon donor, you can go to patreon.com/RPMMO Radio and join them there. You'll be one of a select few, the elite, the best of the best, and the nerdiest of the nerds. Oh. And thank you, Yudfei, for resubscribing to Prime, because there was much rejoicing. I always love. It's one of my favorite things. I get to pick the sounds when someone subscribes. It's Monty Python.
Nothing else.
I also want to thank Aradine for following us over at Twitch, which you can too. Go to twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio, where if you're a podcast listener, you can follow us there. Even if you're never able to catch the show, go ahead and do it anyway, just because you're such a good person. You look, by the way, I didn't want to, guys, give me a moment. I just have to, your hair looks just amazing today. If you go over there, it's probably going to look like that all the time. Just follow and subscribe over at Twitch. when you have a hair day like you're having right now, do you really want to jinx it? I would say no.
I mean, once you're bald, and say nice shine.
Right, exactly. Maybe you're one of those people that before right this moment, you didn't pull off that ball look. But as soon as you follow us on Twitch, you're gonna be like Patrick fucking Stewart. It's gonna look good on you.
Indeed.
That's right.
And all the dignification that goes with it.
Well, that's right. Engage. Sean
Number
Connery
one.
doing Patrick Stewart, but go with it. So, yeah, really, guys, thank you over all our Patreons, all of our followers, all of our subscribers, like the Yunfei, who gave us 3 little hearts because she's adorable. I also want to say that you can all, of course, find us. It is a podcast. I have seen a couple people are like, "Oh, I didn't know I could listen to it if I don't see the show live." You can, and you should. Over at Apple Podcast, anywhere there's an Android podcast app, like pick one. Spotify, Podbean,
Castbox.
Castbox is one on Android. That's the one we use. It's got everything, and it's very user friendly. So you can get that over at rpmmoradio.com as well. We put them up individually, and that just links straight to Podbean if you'd listen to it on your computer and not on your smartphone. So let's see. Oh, I got onto it for doing that. Someone's like, you need to quit popping your lips when you're thinking. Anyone want to guess who that was?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know either.
Mm-hmm.
It was me.
Yeah, it was you.
I was like, that's really loud.
Yeah, thanks for giving me now I'm gonna have this Tourette's twitch every time I do it. I shouldn't do that. And thank you, TK Dean. By the way, I hope you have had a few rounds on us. He is in Ireland. So he said, you all have gotten me through some long days at work and some long bus rides. So thank you guys. Love you all. Well, we love you too.
Yay!
But we'd love you more if you shipped us some of that Irish whiskey.
You're the man, TK Dean. You're the man.
I mean, we have Tullamore Dew out here, but I mean, I want to get the real stuff, from just straight from you over there. Just hit me up on the podcast after that, because unfortunately, though, you can't ship alcohol to my state because we're stupid, and we still apparently live in 1950.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arkansas is like that too. Still, there's still some dry counties, isn't there?
There are, actually. We went and did a diamond mine thing, or there's some big plot of land where diamonds can pop up, and the county was dry, and it was awful. No, it's actual real diamonds. Your chances of finding one are like 1 in a million, and you get to dig in dirt in the steaming hot Arkansas sun, which is, of course, a balmy 98 degrees with a 95% humidity.
I still believe it's all quartz.
You can always ship that whiskey to me, sir, and I'll make sure it gets to you, mostly.
I know that where my friend Tilder and Mel live was dry, and it's only just recently not.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we did actually pass, since it's politics, we actually did pass laws last year. It's just going to take, I think, until the year 2159 before they actually enact them, because they weren't happy at the... we actually did legalize pot, too. Oh, and by the way, if you get that card that you can do that, you can lose your kids, you can lose your job, and they're going to take your gun rights away from you. So, because the people up top didn't want it legalized, but the people did.
Wait. Back up. So, they legalized marijuana, but they didn't?
The people legalized marijuana.
And we're starting early.
Mm-hmm. But
you mean the federal government still insists that it's wrong?
No. Local government.
Local?
The locals, the up top, the mayor's office, the governors. So our local FDA and all that, our health whatever it's called. They're like,
the DHS probably.
Yeah, you can do that, but if you get the it's medical marijuana, but it's a very loose law. A lot like California's was before they just went straight up like recreational or whatever it is.
Screw it, yeah.
That's how you play both sides of the fence.
Right. So they didn't want it to pass, but I will be honest, I voted for it because I have seen the benefits of medical marijuana. Not personally, but I was completely against it a long time ago. Looked into it, watched a guy having a full-blown seizure, get some of that, and a little boy and several other people get some of that crap like dribbled into their mouth and come out of it within 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah. My son, as soon as, and we're technically right now we can legally have it medically, but like you are experiencing, they'll still come after you for it, and you can't grow it, sell it, or transport it across state lines.
Actually have, you could have up to 6 plants, and I forget, up to, I think it was 8 or 10 ounces, like, ready to go.
Yeah, the only way for it to get into the state is by like 1 or 2 corporate paid, for a special permit. And if you do it in like if I go to Colorado and buy it for my son where it's legal and I take it across state lines,
and you get pulled over,
I could go to jail for the rest of my natural life.
Exactly.
And
for what
and
is,
I lose my son and everything. I mean, it's not worth it. So until that changes, I won't put my son on it.
Well, and like I work for the government. I work for the post office. I would assume I'm still not going to be allowed to take it because my job forbids it, which is fine. That's my job's. You have that.
It's
you have
their
that
prerogative to put that in there. But
for people that aren't doing that, come on, guys. It's just because they got pissed that something passed that they didn't approve of. Even though, I'll be honest, we could really use the money. I don't know if anybody saw. We had a big teacher strike that made national news. So, pot smoking can help that.
Colorado is doing really well with that. They've
done
cleared
well.
up their deficit and paid for treatment, and they've done a lot of good things.
They can do good,
but
not if they don't want it. So we'll get into all of that. Before we get into what we've been doing in roleplay, and we'll keep that short because we got a shit ton of stuff to get to, and I don't want to go a full hour into a show, and then another hour over that. So we are going to start our own political campaigns this time. That's right. Not us personally. Nobody would vote for us. I mean, especially...
no one would vote for me.
No, especially Kishmas. I was going to say that. No, I mean, just God, no. I mean, it'd be like... It's like that one guy in New York that that is the rent is too damn high party. That guy. It'd be like voting for him for Kishmas. It's just awful.
I mean, that guy's great. Rent is too damn fucking high.
I'm not saying I don't agree with his message. I'm just saying... It's probably not the best platform to just roast. It's not the only plank in a platform. So what we're going to have is rulers from all across MMOs and games. They're going to come out of our ass. I don't know why I wrote it. Rulers from across MMOs and gaming and out of our ass. Oh, yeah, see. Kishmas is definitely out of his ass. Yes. He's you guys are going to really love that one. Are going to come together, and we're all going to try to win your vote as ruler, Presidential Overlord, if you will, of the MMO Multiverse. Now, this person will have full access to every dove in every single MMO coming, future and present, and even in the past, like for the Matrix. They're going to make decisions on that, even though it's closed. So we'll be doing those... for our campaign ads starting today, and we'll be doing them into the future, and at the end of all of this, probably, I'm going to guess sometime in November, when there's an election, the listener, will have, probably we'll figure it out when we get close, week to 2 weeks to vote. We'll give you more than the 12-hour period where you're trying to rush to get to work and then wait in line for hours to vote, to decide which one of these people is going to be your new MMO Overlord. And I think before we get to that, we'll go ahead and kick it off with one of them. Now remember, these are political ads. They are not done professionally.
That's true.
Luke Kane, the man they call Luke Kane. He taxes the rich and he taxes the poor. Stood up to the gods and he gave them what for. Our love for him now ain't hard to explain. The ruler of Freeport, the man they call Luke Kane. Now Luke Kane saw the people's backs breaking. He saw the people's lament. He saw the nobles a-taken. slave labor, retinary ascent. He said, I will rule over the people. I will free them from your heel. Cain strapped on his sword, and he made the rulers no more. He made the citizens all free. He's loved by the rich and he's loved by the poor. Stood up to the knights and he gave them what for. Our love for him now ain't hard to explain. The savior of Freeport, the man they call Cain.
This ad is paid for by the free citizens of Freeport for Lucandelier as Presidential Overlord of the MMO Multiverse. Vote early. Vote often. I am Lucandelier, and I approve this message.
Well, that would be my candidate that I'm voting for. I think that you should too. They're not done professionally. I should add that again. So,
Which one was that?
that was the Lucandelier one.
Okay. I'm
Yes.
sorry, we can't hear him.
No, we can't. So, there will be a few more throughout the show. I would assume 5 in total, so 4 more after this. So what have we been doing in roleplay this week? Jazz, I don't know if you've been here for a while, but typically you go first now.
Okay.
You got the wrong guy.
I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
Your mother sew? Tell her to sew that.
Well, let's see. We had the tea house, which was fun. I went as Sully. It was just some really casual RP this week. I've had a lot of anxiety, so I've been keeping it really kind of laid back and relaxed. Monday was coordinator training.
Are
I
you
think.
sure?
I
Are you asking us or are you telling us?
I just realized I have absolutely no memory of it whatsoever.
It was
It was the handcuff training.
handcuff training.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Yes, that
Yeah.
was actually a lot of fun.
It was a good idea that could have gone a little better.
It was. It
And
did not
yeah.
go smoothly, but that's because they were treating it kind of like combat, and it really wasn't. And I think they would have had a lot more fun if they just would have let people freestyle it a little bit.
Yeah. It's actually I had talked to the person after the fact and mentioned like not everything has to be in alphabetical order. That if when you pair off like that, it's perfectly okay to pair them off and let people one-on-one and just roll against each other, and that way you as the event coordinator can go weave in and out of the people and give advice and instructions and things like that, and even pull in the other guys like Kishmas, who just stands there looking pretty.
I was actually there very late.
So
that night,
pretty.
so.
So it was a lot of fun, and the
It
person
was.
that paired off with me was one letter off of me, so we were like at the end of the line anyway. So
that works.
the first round, the first set, I just followed her, and then the next set we reversed. Nobody even noticed that we were no longer going in alphabetical order because I just went first and then she followed me.
Yeah.
Because it made more sense than having her when I'm the one. Yeah. So
Right,
we
which
switched
that was
it around.
That was the
We
problem
talked
Sib was
first.
having.
Yeah, I was like, so how about we just switch? And she goes, that's fine. They won't even notice.
For those wondering what it was how to. Everyone had 2 chances to handcuff somebody, and then they would verse, and you have 2 chances, and each chance was basically a roll. And the high-low thing, if you got it high, you managed to get the cuffs on. If you got it low, the other person, like a prisoner would try to jerk away and not get themselves handcuffed, which was, police do hours and hours and hours of training on how to handle people in handcuffs. So it was a good idea for the event. It just,
Oh, yeah.
it worked real well.
And Zasher from the week before last was really tense about showing up. So he was very anxious. When he showed up, I rolled that he felt much better once he got into the temple. And then he relaxed and went and attended training and had a good time.
Good.
Flirted a little bit with the chick that he was trying to handcuff. And
Oh, yeah.
it made them like go, well, this might not have been the best thing for Dunmer to do.
Yeah.
He was like, be gentle with me, you know. He was,
Right,
it was a lot of fun.
The fourth grade jokes that we still do as adults and try to pretend we're better than.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we are.
totally.
Mm-hmm.
I
Penis.
can eat ice cream in the middle of the day if I want to.
I had
They can't.
That's right. Take that, fourth graders.
So Tuesday was the poetry reading, and we had a full house, and it went really well.
Good.
We had a lot of fun. I felt that a lot of people were there. Kia got to deal with people in the guild that are joining that needed tasks, all that kind of stuff. She's very, very pregnant at this point. She's due next month. So I've got her pretty gravid or getting close to gravid at this point, and she's losing her sense of humor about being pregnant. So that was fun, and it was fun to be out there and interacting with people.
Yeah.
Wednesday, I couldn't get on, if I remember correctly.
Wednesday you had-
4th of
Yeah,
July.
that was the fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
That
the
weird
whole
glitch.
game glitched out, and they even shut the servers down for what, a couple hours, I think.
Well, not the servers. Some people were still on, as far as I know.
Okay. I thought they had
But
said
anybody,
that something got shut
anybody
down.
that had Steam or who, well, actually, it was mostly Steam, but there were some people
It
who
wasn't
didn't
all
have
Steam,
that
yeah.
couldn't get on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't all Steam. It was across the board. A lot of people were having trouble
Again.
getting in. Again, on a heavy day when everybody was off work. Sounds a little suspicious to me. So I was on until like 3, and then I left to go make dinner.
And
And
that
when I
was
came
that.
back, I couldn't get back on, and I was so freaking
The
angry.
whole night, yeah.
Yeah. So I focused on writing and some other things, and I mean, I had a good night. It was just annoying because it was 4th of July, and I wanted to be on game. Thursday was our guild role-playing night, and again, it was rather busy, and lots of people were there. Kia again got to be Kia. And no, Kia wasn't at the poetry reading. Who did I bring to the poetry reading?
I don't know.
It was.
I don't know either.
This is why we
Really?
make her go first, because
Yes,
it's
this is
riveting
why-
and she
yes.
has no memory.
No.
It was. It was Kia.
Was it Kia?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you
was
brought
Kia.
Kia.
Yeah, you brought Kia.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Well,
See,
at
this
least I
is what
remember
you get for
something
naming your
correctly.
character so close there, Buffy.
I know, right? Well, the good news is this time around, Sia's been completely out of commission for this whole time because she got her ass handed to her and she nearly died. So she's been in repair mode, and so I can't really play her because she's learning how to walk again.
You did a very suggestive poem with giant vocabulary and left everybody scratching, and Travis
that's
looked at
right.
his niece and just like, really, you're really doing this?
It was a very suggestive poem, but it was
Ooh la la.
all with very long words, and most people
Long,
probably had no
long.
idea what she was saying, and she had a good laugh, and her uncle cleared it.
Kishmis likes the long words.
Absolutely.
So Friday was tough on ERP, and it was rife with all kinds of things. And we did resolve some of the drama that had been kind of broiling under the surface, and we managed to kind of fix it, I think, satisfactorily for everyone. So I felt very positive about that by the end of the night. And it went till like 2 a.m. So there was a lot of RP Friday night, and I felt like I had a really good time this week.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yes.
I'm
So-
just glad that the drama has been largely fixed, because that was making my logging in,
not
as
fun.
Kishmas
Yeah.
can attest to, when you have to be the guild leader and you have to log in and deal with drama, you don't want to log in. So I was glad that we finally fixed things and the game can be fun again.
Yes. So, speaking of Kishmas, since he's actually here, he is so dedicated to this show. He actually took today off to be here, and
Yes.
I appreciate that.
We do, because we
I
love having
appreciate
here.
you.
I know you do.
JBS clap.
Stop it.
Was that a clap or was it something else?
That's To be honest, part of the Patreon money is going to scientists to figure out just what the fuck that sound is. Is it Laurel or is it Yanny? Is it a
Get out
clap
of here.
or
Get
is it fapping? We don't know.
Hip slaps.
So, Kishmas, what'd you have for roleplay this week?
Oh, a lot. But anyway.
All right, so
Strafe was the big. The tea house was pretty much the climax of my week for RP.
Literally almost a week ago.
Pretty much, yeah. Tea house was fun. The rest of the week was kind of just me, like Jazz, taking it a bit back. I've been dealing with a lot of stress and all that, so I'm not really into the RP as I was in previous weeks.
Yeah.
But Raj has been doing a lot of just preparations and taking care of his family right now.
Yeah, Prego life.
Yep, very Prego. But that's pretty much about it, aside from the event that we had last night. But I wasn't into it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a grace period for me right now before I can, think of things
Just kind
to
of
get back into mainstream RP.
Kind of chill out a little bit. Yeah, I know you've been ironically, and you weren't only on the whole episode, in a little bit of a burnout. So yeah, it happens. We're all there at one point or another, off and on. So, let's see.
You did it again.
I'm gonna do that. It's just what I do when I'm thinking. I can't help it. Strafe.
I want to point one thing out really quick. It has nothing to do with RP, but I just thought about it, and I'll forget about it if I don't say something.
Okay.
My husband bought me some wine at the Amanas, which is a German place in Iowa, and it's really good. Usually the wine is really, really good, and he tasted it before he bought it for me, and he brought it home. And last night I opened up the bottle and I started having some, or rather he opened it up for me, but then I went to go have some.
What a gentleman!
And it tasted like ass. And I was like,
that is not where I thought that was going.
Oh, and but see, because of my head injury, which years ago, sometimes things do not taste right to me. And if my stomach doesn't get upset, I'm more apt to think that it's just me, not the thing.
Your taste buds, right?
Yeah, and so I drank about a quarter of the glass. And it was just god awful. And I finally walked out there and I said, "Honey, this is rank. I don't know what is wrong with this." And I handed it to him. And he's like, "I tasted." He was just incensed. "I tasted this. I know this is it's just your head. You know how you get." And he took a swig.
Oh no!
And he spit it out and he goes, "No, baby, this is disgusting."
Huh?
How much of this did you drink?
Wow.
So
I was like,
was it the wrong bottle or was it bad?
It was bad. Like they had rotten grapes in it. And that's what it tasted like. It tasted like spoiled grapes. And yeah, it was really bad. And Jason dumped out the whole bottle. But it was just so funny because when he first took a sip, he was doing this very incensed, "I know I did a good job."
Like, I know you're just crazy ass, you bitch. Yeah. Try to be fucking thankful for, oh my God.
So his whole face just kind of crumpled, and it was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. I laughed really hard.
I know.
I was like, okay, so it's not just me.
And
Woo!
I can say, as somebody, I would be so pissed, and I'd feel as bad about it myself. Even though you have no way of knowing that, I'd be completely like, my gift was a complete failure.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That random moment brought to you by Jazz.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to share that because I would forget. And now I'm drinking my very, very favorite Ketu wine. So, yes.
So I think what we can all take from this is Jazz is a vapid drunk and should be watched.
Okay, straight face, turn.
Strafe, go for it, buddy. Have any wine related RP?
He does actually.
He does.
Exactly. I
You say, wait a minute.
That
You're
was
asking the wrong man, because yeah, he does.
That was the joke.
Oh, sorry.
So Tuesday night we did poetry. Full House, which was a switch from the last two times of being barren and vacant. We had a few edgelords, but they vanished for the end of the show, so they're lost.
But what was holding up your walls after they left?
The studs, the nails.
Okay, well, good.
The old Mary stonework, you know.
Right. Oh, I get that. That makes sense.
Micah was there, so there was a stud.
In
I
his
don't
own
remember
mind.
seeing Micah there.
No, maybe he didn't come. And then there wasn't a stud. Never mind.
No, that whole. I don't think
Get her another glass of wine. This is getting good.
I've only had like
But
2 tablespoons. Be quiet.
but no, I'm glad.
that, folks. She's a cheap date.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that your the lull is kind of might be going over because I seemed like in the other guild a lot of events had a good decent amount of people too. So maybe we're finally over that hump of
We should be.
people not being around after the 4th.
It's
We're
the summer.
heading into July. It should start speeding up. By
Yeah.
August, it'll be back to normal.
It's a summer.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a group of people I think aren't coming back for a while. That's cool. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of folks there. They had a good time. Wine was shared, but it was good Altmer wine from one of the small islands near Somerset. Wednesday, we did the horse wrangling, helped Foley get her horses across some bandit-infested lands.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite fun. I think myself and Ashton's characters kind of stole the show by charging forward and decimating
And
poor
rolling
bandits that
high.
decided to. Oh yeah,
And rolling
You
high.
out of the box rolled a 20. Okay, so yeah, you did some damage.
Nice.
It could have gone the other way if we had both rolled very low and charged in like we did. It would have been like, so the bandits kicked our ass.
yeah, pretty much.
Thankfully,
But
that
luckily-
didn't happen.
We got in there, we tore them up pretty good, and we got our horses safely to the shipper, which was good. And after that, everyone reclined at the, I would say, lodge resort town that Voli had found,
Casa de
and that was pretty
Volley.
fun. Casa de Voli, except she doesn't technically own it, but I suspect she does.
Mm.
We did another meeting there Friday. I missed Guild Night, but the RP that went on there was pretty cool. We had some characters from different guilds show up, got to hang out. People you don't normally get to RP with. Sully showed up. One of her minions showed up and held up the awning until Sully made her sit. Trath. Oh yeah, Trath had a little bit of RP with Voli this week. They were hanging out after poetry.
Yes.
They went to walk. They took a walk in the gardens. They walked by his reflection pool with that alien memory crystal, and she's apparently sensitive to it because she started getting stray memories out of it. And Trath thought you could only get memories if you actually had the attuner device. So he had some explaining to do, as Ricky would tell Lucy.
You got some explaining to do.
Yeah, so that set up some RP that's going to include
That's
his
cool.
evil brother.
Yeah.
So yeah, all in all, it was pretty slow, but it was good for what RP I did get.
Awesome. Jed. So, Sib, you're up.
Let's
Punching.
see. I was in game every night this week, so it was a lot of RP. I will say it was more scheduled, so I didn't get a lot of very much random. But let's see. Of course, Tea House was Sunday. Monday was ordinator training, which I had a rough time with it because the poor guy I was supposed to be helping or handcuffing, he was new and he was trying to learn the system in the game
Yeah, I think he
or
was.
in our guild.
Like,
So
I think he was new, like to role
Yeah.
play all together new.
Yes, he is. He said
Yeah.
he was. He was
Okay.
very new.
So
Yeah.
I was trying to send him, what he needed to do, how. And I will say, once you learn the Servant of the Tribunals method, it is super smooth, and it's
Right.
really, it's one of the smoothest systems I've seen in running an event.
But when you're still learning,
Mm.
like, okay,
Yeah.
so how do I roll? It's still a lot
I
to
know.
take in.
He rolled 3 times on his go. So I was trying to send him tells to let him know.
I
So
have to share one thing that he did too, because it was. I'm not picking on him because he's a new role player, but the visual image
No,
it
you can-
conjured up was he had done something because he did his rolls and he started getting the hang of it. But one of them was when he was trying to dodge Volley's thing. What was it he had said that
it was nice.
nice, right? That he jumped back, or he tried to move quickly, waving his hands about, and all I could see was was just like some guy in a full-on uniform, like waving his hands like a magician, like trying to fake somebody out, like when they're trying to.
Or a wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man.
It's exactly the image at Concord. It's like that. It's just one of those wacky inflatable arm guys, just like, where am I going? Ooh, where am I at? You know, it was just the way he said it. It was so endearing. I was like, that's the best visual image of someone trying not to get arrested I could think of.
Sounds like a guy going jazz hands and trying to run
Exactly.
away.
Yeah. So actually, Mikey in the chat just said jazz hands. That's exactly what it was. Sorry.
Okay. I wanted to say, sorry you can't stay, T, but thank you
Bye,
for
T.
popping in.
Hi, T.
And we love the tea house.
Yes,
all
we
do.
do.
Okay.
No tips.
I tip every time.
Which is
I never
usually
tip.
against Kishmis's thing, which is just the tip.
Oh.
Anyway, so going on
I mean, you're
Tuesday
not wrong.
night. Tuesday night, we had poetry night, which was a lot of fun. I went on Volley, and she did. I have a hard time finding poems she's an orc. She's not nice. So I have a hard time
You
finding
just see
things
her
for her
trying
do.
to find poetry.
Yeah.
You know, I have an axe. Don't touch me.
Yeah. So I went to disturb songs, and they seem to work. Everybody's like,
And they
"Yeah,
do. They
that's
do. They
That
fit her
looks
pretty
good.
well.
you know." So that was a lot of fun. And then we did have the little bit of RP after between Straffe and her, and their relationship is moving along, and it's really nice. It's a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with it.
I forgot to say he did read her a sweet poem that night.
He did.
He did. It was very sweet.
There once was a man from Nantucket.
No.
Not that
No?
poem, bro.
Oh. You know, I actually had to look that up. It's not as dirty as you think it is. That poem. It's not
I'll
as
take
dirty.
your word for it, man.
It's not nearly. It doesn't go where you think it will go. So if you want to have a fun Google search, look up "There Once Was a Man from Nantucket." Do you have anything else, Sib?
No, I'm good. I'll just quit there.
Okay. I had a lot of the same role play that they did. So I won't retread on that. I did play a little bit of Star Trek Online. Actually threw out a few offers to have some of them come on the show here a few episodes from now and talk about what roleplay is like in that game. So kind of looking forward to having that, because some of them have been in there since the start, which means they've been through the very dark times of Star Trek Online. And one of them actually is another podcaster from RP Gamer. So it's like, well, cool. She's already set up, and she'd be happy to come on the show and talk about that there on here as well. So that I was glad for. One fun thing I did have is their Star Trek. They have the Risa event. For you that know Star Trek, Risa is basically it's the Hawaii planet. I mean, it's just perfect everywhere, no matter where you're at. I don't know how it works, but the people are all gorgeous. They're all wearing badly designed clothing from the late 90s that thinks it's futuristic, that kind of thing. But unfortunately, this guild it's technically only been, even though the game has been out for 8 years, the in-game time clock it started in 2408 and it's just now 2410. So this guild actually has instead they accelerated at basically real time. So, but they've slowly parsed out the stuff that happens in the game as content in its own time, which actually has probably a better time period than the game developers do. But because of that, there's a big war going on. So all leave that they usually annually take to this planet was canceled. So instead, somebody did a holodeck thing, basically for the Risa thing. So we went to Risa as the planet, but it was technically still on the starbase, and people were in their swimsuits and they were barbecuing. I had to go AFK, because I was going to help Sib with 4th of July food. We had shish kebabs. They were delicious, in case you were
You get
wondering.
your spacesuit?
I did not, because...
For shame.
In character, I did not. So in character, what I had said was that some ensign from Tactical had called her and was needing help on doing something. She tried to explain it. She couldn't do it, so she had to leave the barbecue in her bathing suit. And she went there in a base, full of people, like you kind of see happens in the actual shows on the ship on the Enterprise.
Yeah, I remember.
Right?
Yeah, they would do
Right.
that. Yeah.
The difference is this is a star base, so that is highly frowned upon. And they have this funny little thread. They don't use Discord, like I said, but they have rumor has it. And, you can put rumor has it such and such. So it was basically just a throwaway thing that when I came back from being AFK, I had said that she had gone all the way to tactical ops and showed this guy how to put to a secondary transit conduit so that the primary one could have a diagnostic. I don't know. It's Star Trek language bullshit. It sounded good to me. But that she had done it in her bathing suit. And once the ensign picked his jaw up off the floor, because she's a trill, he figured out what was going on, and she had mentioned that. And I put it in their little thread. And then after that, fun roleplay blow-up happened. That apparently there were all sorts of memos. One of them had another ensign from another thing just come on duty in flip-flops. So now all these memos are going around this giant station just because of one throwaway, like, I had to go AFK and do this, and like people were getting in trouble while not really getting in trouble for running around the station in bikini wear and swimsuits and all that stuff, and some of them not having enough common sense not to show up on duty in those clothes. So it was a fun moment.
You did, and look how you did it, bro.
Exactly. But it was a fun moment, and it was a learning experience for her in a way, because she's used to a starship which is Voyager size, an Intrepid class, which has about 200 or so people, give or take, which 200 people on one living little ship like that, you're going to know everybody. So somebody coming to help off of a holodeck when you're dressed funny is not really that big of a deal, but on a giant space station with 50,000 people, protocols followed a lot more closely. So it was a learning experience for her. It was a lot of fun, and it was a silly little thing that turned into a sillier, bigger thing, which I thought was kind of neat.
Ash and I did find some role players in Star Wars Galaxy's EMU.
Oh, did you?
Forgot to mention that Thursday night. Yeah, I was in the buff line, and they were there, and they were role playing.
Huh.
So I sent him a tel OC, and I said, "Hey, how's the RP community? Where is it? Where are you guys at?" He said, "Oh, it's here, and it has its moments." And then
Ups
I
and
asked
downs.
him, "Hey, where are the hotspots at, so I can maybe check it out?" Dead silence. They freaking bugged out like I was a spook or something.
Probably because they don't want to tell the trolls where they are.
Well, obviously that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you could look at my profile and it says roleplay, I looked at his profile. It was built the same way. He had the same little story. I had my story, and I was like, dude, obviously I'm not a troll. I don't even have a troll name, but they banished like there was nobody's business.
Huh. Well,
I will keep hunting to see if I can find them.
Yeah, probably been burned one too many times.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, with that, I think Jazz, she has a candidate that she believes is near and dear to her heart. You ready to have your candidate's ad played?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm getting them. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, here's Jazz for Antonia Bale.
Are you tired of feeling unwanted and unloved? Do you seek a new life and new opportunities? Come to Kinos, where the city is clean and full of love for everyone in all walks of life. I am Antonia Bale, Queen of Kinos, of love and light, and here to show the way to a brighter future. You'll get a simple house, food to eat, and a job to work. Kinos, it's where to be for anyone seeking a new and happier life.
This ad paid for by AntoniaIsTheQueen.com, a Just For You production.
I am Antonia, and I approve this message.
Aww.
Sweet.
Yes.
Oh, that
Is she like Catherine the Great in any way?
Sort of. Less close.
A lot less close.
A lot less
yes.
close.
Listen, Catherine the Great was also in Less Close.
Oh, well, that's true.
A lot of bikini armor. Yeah.
the irony of that choice is Jazz absolutely hated that Monarch in game.
I did. I couldn't
Which is
stand
ironic,
her.
yeah. Well, that's because it was Heather Graham.
Probably so.
Yeah.
I just
everybody
found it
hates
a bit
Heather
over the top, and of course, I played a dark elf, so she
Right.
absolutely wanted that woman in just pieces. So
Yes.
yeah,
So, all right. So, our main topic today, I
It's
think
not
we're
politics.
all aware. It's definitely not going to be about politics. because you never talk politics. Kishmas, looking at you. I will say ahead of time, we're not here to pick sides, though each of us does have one. Obviously, we're all grown-ups. We all follow politics in one form or another. We all have our own belief systems. We all have our own principles and thoughts and ways that things should go, or how we'd like to go, how we want to vote, how we don't want to vote, blah, 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 blah. So every one of us does believe differently. Some are close to others, but all still, mostly, are managing to get along and speak openly to one another. Because we know there's, we know that there's a person behind the thoughts and opinions. We're not some androgynous community of Nazi, commie, conservator libtards, It's just someone that thinks differently than we do and thinks there's a problem and it should be solved differently. So I want to say that up front. We're all basically across the spectrum from really one end to the other. We really are. If any of this causes you to never listen to our show again, that says more about you, unfortunately, than it does about us. So maybe keep that in mind.
No, you.
That is a well thought out argument. I would like to subscribe to your newsletter.
And I'd like to say, it might be a reason why you have a hard time finding people to RP with in game.
Oof.
Ooh.
Ooh. That hurts.
Oh.
No, not Kishmas.
No, I'm specific. I'm calling Kishmas out. It's because he's mean. Look at him. Look at him. No, what you mean, Sid?
Oh, after your statement.
Yeah.
Your little...
The people like that would leave just for that reason. Yeah.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, and so we all know, like, universally, I don't think I've ever been in a guild, ever, role play or not, that doesn't have one universal rule, and that is that politics is banned, and you never speak of it, and if you get close to it, you usually get a warning to take it to private chat or stop talking about it altogether.
Yes.
You always have those few that do it anyway.
There's always some, right? And if you're ever curious why this is a rule, and you've never seen it personally in a guild, why? Because it's enforced so well. Open zone chat.
Oh gosh!
In any game.
In any game. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Go to any forum. Ever. If you want to know why politics is almost universally banned, if you open zone chat, you'll be like,
plus,
oh, that's a good reason.
Plus, there's always going to be two people on the exact opposite side of the spectrum of each other, which makes it a hell of a lot more, argumentative than it should be.
Than debate, which is, you can. I like debating politics. I'll admit it. I have to really actually work hard not to bring it into the show outside of snotty comments about Michael Moore, Rosie O'Donnell, or what's the turtle guy from the Republicans?
Turtle guy?
Yeah.
Oh, Mitch McConnell.
Much McConnell. Fuck that guy.
God, I hate that guy.
Sorry. And I'm on technically what you would consider the Republican side. I actually am conservative, but I'm more of a conservative, not libertarian.
You're a libertarian.
I'm totally, I'm a libertarian conservative. I lean more that way. I don't think the government should be involved in anything. Gay marriage? Easy. Government shouldn't be involved in it. My marriage? Easy. Government shouldn't be involved in it. Problem solved. Do what you want, people. The end. Unfortunately, it's never going to work like that, but I can dream.
Zone chat will not find any intelligent life to speak of, to be honest.
Not usually, no. Because the people that go there
is highly
are not
entertaining,
there.
though.
It's
like watching Ricky Lake if she had. Yeah, remember Ricky Lake?
Back,
what was
I remember Ricky Lake. Holy cow, that's been a while.
It's like if Ricky Lake, Maury Povich. What was the dude that always had like the Nazis and black people fighting against each other?
That's Maury Povich.
No, that wasn't. No, it was the other one.
Oh.
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer. It's like if they all got together and co-hosted a show.
Yeah, it really is. That's zone chat right there.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Right. It's basically what it is. So if you're ever curious, that's why guilds universally ban it.
It's just not worth it. Even if you have a lot of people, there's always going to be one idiot, and it's not worth the stress.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because even if you're like, in when she says idiot, she's not talking about like if her and I were talking, because we're polar opposites on a lot of stuff. But she's a good person. I know who she is. And she's not, I call her my commie friend. It's a joke. She's not actually a communist. And she can call me her, I don't know, the alt-right whatever. I don't care, because I know she knows who I am, and that
Don't you mean deplorable?
Deplorable. You could call me a deplorable, although she was...
Bro, I'm an adorable deplorable. I don't
You're
know
an
about
adorable deplorable. But, although I will say, Jazz wasn't happy with that one either.
No.
She was not happy with that one. But we can do that because we know each other. And it really should be like that with everyone. That when you see somebody with a differing opinion, you're like, oh, hey, that's a human being behind those words, and they have a different opinion than me. I shouldn't attack them personally.
But it's been weaponized, bro. That's the problem.
It has been weaponized, yes. So that's it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for guild leaders to. They're not there to police your political thought. They're just there to role play, and they have enough time with the crazy people constantly doing shit out of character to worry about who votes for one side or another, or who.
And we had to
that.
actually put that in our guild message that we will not police.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond hate speech, we will not police what people say, and they need to understand that.
Yeah, and
we had somebody leave the guild over it.
And if you take it to Tells and you get offended, and you're talking politics, well,
see, that's why I always say stop the discussion instead of saying take it to Tells, because I'm not going to deal with the whispers later, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Full agreement. I mean, I've had people come at me when they shouldn't have been doing this when it's a guild rule, and I literally will stop. I'm like, nope. See, I could tell you, but this is just going to exasperate it. You're looking for a fight. I'm not going to give you one.
I'm sometimes really bad about it.
Yeah, but then you do yourself no service by crawling in the mud with
bye.
Jesus Christ, Yudfei. Yeah, and let me tell you, this is Yudfei in the chat. Yeah, and let me tell you, there are some trashy people. Comes in your butt has one opinion, and Kitty Nuggets has another, and they decide to argue about it in zone-wide chat.
Oh, yeah, that's always fun. Isn't that fun?
Why do I have the feeling that comes in your butt name was not something she may have made up off the top of her head?
Oh, no.
There's about 1 million of those.
Right.
In one form or another, it's
right. So yeah, that's why guilds. It's not worth it. It's not worth the headache. It's not worth doing, which is kind of, it says more about the state of the way people in general are these days than it does about necessarily the guild leaders not wanting to put up with it. I completely understand that.
The way I've seen the pattern, I see it, it turns into an additional civil debate that goes into a little mudslinging. Then they're like, wait a minute, but you just said the other thing, and now you're not agreeing with yourself. And then like, no, but you said this and this. It turns into. It's like it's not even about the politics anymore. It's about like why your statement doesn't make sense because your statement before said this and blah blah blah.
It's It goes into logic traps or attempts to go into logic traps,
which happens not only in politic talk, it happens in lore talk as well.
Yes, it
especially
does.
in ESO
I agree,
it's
man.
So bad.
Nothing will destroy a guild quicker than this going rampant in your guild chat.
Yeah.
Yep. And you feed into it.
We just put our foot down and say, that's enough. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. And we're going to go into a lot of that. Why, how it is people really should talk and
it speaks a lot to their character if they're willing to mudsling like that and literally go against guild rules and show you what they really feel like, dude.
Yeah,
you're trying to start something.
Online, outside of the game, online. I'm guilty of it. I used to be really guilty of it, and then it's easy, especially for someone like me. I don't know if anyone has noticed. I am a little sarcastic at times.
No,
right? I know. I thought I hit it well.
No,
not
even
apparently not at all. Right, but and I started learning it under Obama. And I will be honest, I was not a fan of. I think I am a fan of Obama as a human being and like a father and a husband and all that. I wasn't. I
liked his charisma.
Right, I wasn't a fan
of
his
charisma. Was what you
politics, but when I would see people on the right calling him Obummer or by his original legal name Barry, or it's just like, dude, you're not. It's just childish and stupid. And any legitimate point you may have after that, even I don't pay attention to it because you're just acting like a 4-year-old.
Man, our caller waiting room is blown up, bro.
You did.
Right. And there's no point to that. It makes me not, all that interested. And I didn't do the Obama thing. It always irritated me from the start. But insulting other people, I'm really good at that. In fact, I actually have been getting into a lot more fights with my tech, quote-unquote, own side lately.
Wow, look at our caller waiting room.
That's what I said, but
yeah,
Crap.
I know.
it's blown right up. Look at that.
Who's first?
I have an opinion.
Mikey
So you
and
do yourself no
Floyd.
service
Oh,
by slinging names like that. I mean, literally,
Right.
argue the points, debate. Don't start slinging insults because you can't form a thought, and that's the problem.
Right, exactly.
I will say my little view on it is the political people and all that they do enough in the real world, and some of them destroy stuff in the real world, some of them do good. I don't want it in my game because this game, this is my game.
It's your
I want to
escape.
play my game and enjoy my game.
And I
my
think that's where
role-playing-
most people
And so that's
are.
how I look at
Yeah.
it. I don't want to have to deal with that in my game. Now, if it's game politics,
If it's house dress versus house Indoril
Yeah,
or
we'll go there.
Starfleet
But
versus
if it's
Romulans,
real
that's
life,
fine. Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it. I just want to play my game.
Yeah. All right. Well,
The Argonians remember, Ashton. They remember.
and they will eventually win.
They will.
All right. Well, before we go to we have several callers on the line, 2 of which will want to come on at the same time. So before we do that, it's a good time. I think we should see what Kishmis's person has to offer. If Kishmis is good to go, I think down there.
I am now.
Oh, right. So without further ado, Kishmis and his political candidate.
Hi, I'm Jism Reich the Fourth. Are you tired of being pushed around, told lies, forced into doing something you have no control over? Can I only guess you have? I am here running for this office to do 2 things. Put you first and your kids first. My bills and administration I have picked out have the finest, and I mean finest, of deals awaiting your vote. Half the nation is in peril over this immigration crisis malarkey. How it's unfair for everyone and everything in our beloved place of residence. I come here with an olive branch. We can have special IDs for all our foreign visitors, easily plastered on their clothing to notify everyone who they are, and they will get their own special treatment. But that doesn't stop there. Military? Of course I support our warriors out there. So I will be giving incentives to join our vast army of well-trained men, fighting for our freedoms and our security. With this, I strive to create a unified world. One where all have a form of opportunity to explore and create a true utopian paradise. No one will be left behind. Our plans are nothing but the best and have no holes in them like our opposition. They care nothing for us and only for their investors and bankers, who look to steal your hard-earned money to profit from controversy. That stops today. After all this, tell me, what can the Fourth Reich do for you?
Well said.
I think he can be assassinated.
Damn.
When you guys listen to it after the show, the German music in the background does not help that at all.
Oh no!
Damn. So speaking
I
of
was
Nazis,
trying not to laugh when I was doing
I
that.
bet
You did good.
you did better than I think I would have done on a dry
I
run.
choked up a couple of times, but I was trying to...
I couldn't do mine out loud. I had to record it. I was like, I'm gonna so flub this up. So yeah, let's just record it.
Oh man, yeah.
You gotta do it live, though, right? That's our motto.
Yeah, well, syncing up music was hard enough doing.
Well
it.
done, Kishmis.
Does it not live?
Thank you much. Remember, cast your vote for him today. Jism Reich.
You're
Oh my God.
Uh-oh. Malfunction.
How did I mute?
Ashton, you're muted.
I got it. Everybody else could hear me, just you couldn't. So, all right. Well, let's go to our call lines, where both the human Floyd and Mikey together were wanting to come in here. So, human Floyd, Mikey, how's it going, you two?
Hey, are you... Oh, thank you, Seb. I'm flattered.
You got the dubious clap, bro.
Dubious clap.
That's awesome. I just want to say, are you guys surprised that your call line is full when you're talking politics? Everybody has
Of course
an idea.
Nah, it's a fluke.
I really hadn't even thought of it.
I'm just waiting for that one person when we're talking just to say, actually, it's not true.
Actually, it's Obama. His official name on the birth certificate was Barack Obama.
Actually, you're missing the Hussein inside of that.
That's right.
Lord save us from the Wookiees.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So what did you got? I imagine you called in because you have some sort of an idea, maybe something to add to the topic.
Sure. I mean, first of all, like, the main reason we wanted to call in was to congratulate you guys on the 50th episode, because
Congratulations!
So cool.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For real, guys, you are all wonderful, and I just love you all. That's it.
Aw.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Even Kishmas, really? Wow.
Well,
It
not so much.
It kind of dampens the compliment for the rest of us, really.
Well, I listen to RPMMO radio, so my standards are pretty low. But...
Oh, well,
There you
that's
go.
definitely...
There's the truth of it.
Yeah.
That's
Remember.
Rears its ugly head.
Yeah, well, he's not wrong.
I mean,
not.
all I have to say to that is hippity hoppity, Argonians are done with property.
Oh,
Oh my god.
my withering spines.
Oh, man.
That was awesome.
That was
Someone-
terrible. Oh
Shit,
my
I'm
God.
out.
Trust me. Jism Reich would agree with me.
No, I
Can
bet
I-
you would.
Can I add that
Somewhere,
this-
mass Argonians erecting the spine of resistance.
So you're saying they all have an erection?
I mean, it's however you want to take it, bro.
All right. No, I appreciate that, Floyd. Mike, what'd you have?
I was going to say that I used to love you guys, and then I came here. And I was ready to say congratulations at the top of my lungs, but then I found out that my mic was muted, not of my own design, and I realized that this was a form of censorship. It could only be the agenda of neo-Nazi fascist.
Listen, Jism Reich will come to your house.
I will not stand for this. I am going to go on Tumblr, and we are going to organize ourselves, and we are going to stick it to the proletariat.
No. You have to go to Reddit. That's where you go. for that
Starts on
kind of-
Reddit, yeah.
Yeah, Reddit.
This
Reddit.
just in.
Reddit's the best place. for
RPMMO
that.
radio, fake news.
That's right.
Everything is fake news. Your name, fake news. Because I still don't know what the human Floyd means. Hey, human Floyd, what's your name mean?
Yeah, if you find out, I'll give you.
I know, but I
or
was trying to see if I
something.
could trick you.
It
into
could
it.
be a lizard, and
Or
his human
something.
is his title.
I already asked if he was a human in a lizard suit or a lizard in a human suit, and it turns out he was neither.
Well, I do, and I forgot to mention this last time, but I do have a very sexy leather jacket that makes me look reptilian, which was fixed by a certain Sib who I mailed it to, and she fixed it for me because she said that she was an RL tailor, and it looks amazing, and I get lots of compliments, so thank you.
I am so glad.
That's awesome.
She does good work.
I have a blanket that has our Silver Circle logo on it.
Yep, from when
Oh,
Monkey
word.
was born. God, how old is he
Yep.
now?
7.
God, that was 7 years ago.
I'm just going to throw this out there.
Almost 8.
I don't do a lot of sewing for people, so only for people that really like.
Yeah, it's not something
what
she enjoys a ton.
You guys are in the really like category.
I saw
Well, I
Ash's
treasure
suit.
that,
It was
that
awesome.
blanket. I still have it. It's in a safe place where the cats can't piss on it. That says something.
Oh, what a surprise. Jazz has to have a safe place.
I do.
Oh, the irony.
I do. I have a cat piss free zone.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Well, no,
Goddamn creature.
I appreciate you guys saying that stuff.
You guys are
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes, you're definitely awesome. It's been really cool. Mikey, when we did the interviews with you, Human Floyd, all the stuff RPHQ.org has done to help get us out there as well. I'm not lighting up. Uh-oh, what happened? Uh-oh, I can't hear you guys either. No. Oh no.
Beep.
Oh,
Oh,
there it goes.
Oh,
There we go.
That
Holy
was
cow. That was insane.
We've never had a problem with Discord like that the entire show.
Leave it to
Flaming
50.
Must
Leave
have
it to
been
50.
me.
Damn it.
I'm blaming it on 50.
Dang it, Discord, what do you do?
What
You
the
know-
hell?
Guys knocking on my door any minute.
Well,
You know, when you get
yeah. And it's back again, Jazz. It's just Discord hiccuped. Did it just do
That
it
was
again?
weird.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
Am I back?
You're back.
You're back.
Yeah. It was
Yay.
Discord.
that was so weird.
It wasn't you. It just popped on for all of us all at once. So, all right. Well, so back to the show. I'll edit the giant empty space of nothing out.
We're
That's-
being censored.
Hey, 50 episodes and we've not had Discord go out on us like that yet. I'll take it.
Knock
We had
on
that
wood.
one time.
I wish it
blew
had-
up.
That one time it did.
I wish it had waited till 51. But like I was saying, guys, I really do appreciate the kind words. I don't know how much got heard before, but Mikey, the interviews we did with you were awesome. They were so much fun. Helped get us out there.
Definitely bring you
Floyd,
back.
the RPHQ.org. You guys helping us get out
you
there
got
and loading it up on YouTube like you have been.
Thanks for the shameless plug.
Yes. Yes, by the way, go ahead and rphq.org and Mikey's, what was it, ESO, our roleplay spotlight, right?
Spotlight, yeah.
Yeah.
Just not-
I'm
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
I'm sorry, it's just too funny.
We're almost caught up on YouTube also. We're like 5 episodes away or something from being caught up.
Not
which will
after
be nice.
today, it's going to be 6.
Yeah, fuck you. But as for the topic at hand, I think Mikey had a couple of things to say. I don't know what he's going to say, so I hereby disavow myself from any political opinions that he
The
expresses.
political opinions given and brought
Yes.
forth by the player known as Mikey have nothing to do with rphq.org and are not affiliated in any way, shape, or form with the website or the forum.
Thank you, thank you.
So what's up, Mikey?
I just came on here to promote my newest book. It's a manifesto that preaches about seizing the means of production and making sure that the upper class falls.
What-
No, I'm kidding.
Better
I'm kidding.
dead than red, bro.
Does it have anything about the surplus population?
Hey,
That's
listen,
what I want
that's-
to know.
Death is the preferable alternative to communism.
No, it's an honest joke. In regard to the topic, I just wanted to say that I think the idea of having political discourse is great. However, in execution, it lacks severely because folks are having their opinions challenged. And when you have your opinions challenged, you're having an extension of your identity challenged. And therefore, the first reaction is to double down. That's what a lot of people do.
Which is true, yeah.
Yes.
It takes
it
a
is.
little bit of training in order to suspend your belief systems and distance yourself from, your preconceived notions, biases, prejudices, all that good stuff, and listen to the other person. So
It's the difference
Ash,
of knowing how to think and not what to think.
exactly,
Yeah.
and like Ash, you and I, we had a political discussion before your episode began, and you called me a communist. And I was like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Mhm.
But
It's like,
in
yeah,
terms
you,
of
you
you-
filthy red commie.
No, but in terms of you being a conservative, I call myself what I would say I'm a sensible liberal in that I want to reach across the aisle and be like, yo,
Yeah.
let's talk, let's compromise, let's see what we can do.
Because you're never going to get anywhere if you don't.
That's right.
If you don't actually know what the other side is, that I don't ever take one news. And trust me, we got a thing here on media. It's all bad. You're all being lied to. Doesn't matter if you listen to Fox, CNN, NBC, whatever. It's all bad. I mean, you got to go to multiple sources to get the truth.
Exactly, and in regards to the media, I'm starting to notice a subtle change. It's hopefully starting to pick up steam, but it's subtle. There's this thing called the intellectual dark web, which is a lot of folks that are.
I've been hearing more and more about it lately. Yeah.
Right. So, like, you have folks like Dave Rubin, Joe Rogan. The Weinstein brothers. They're out there. Follow all these people. Even Bill Maher, if anyone listens to his show anyway.
I don't agree with a lot on Bill Maher, but I do like hearing what he has to say because, and I understand when he's insulting he's a comedian. He's going to be insulting. That's kind of just the shtick.
But I actually do watch the Joe Rogan Experience, and that's actually a pretty damn good podcast.
He's a very good one.
I'm pretty sure that podcast is world renowned.
Don't forget Stefan Molyneux. He's also good philosophy.
He's topping. Yeah, Rogan's topping almost every podcast list like in the history of ever at this point, which is why it was really annoying when he said things like, "Oh yeah, doing a podcast is easy. You just jump in front of a microphone and the sponsors will come." Well, yeah, if I was on news radio at one time in my life and like co-hosted the UFC or whatever it was, I would probably have that same thing too.
Speaking of which, DC versus Stipe tonight. Oh, I can't wait! I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna be great.
Stipe's gonna crush him, man.
Ah, fuck you, Stipe.
Fuck you, man.
Oh wait, hang on. Did you say Stipe is gonna win? Because if you did, I might have misheard you.
Well, Stipe is gonna win.
Okay, I agree with you. There we go. There we go, right there.
Also, go for
you just had to listen.
The only thing worse than political talk. Sports talk.
Amen.
That episode we're never going to touch on. Also because I know nothing about sports. And
you're talking about football, right?
No.
No?
Ultimate Fighting
Baseball.
Championships.
Oh, boxing!
Oh, no.
Not boxing.
It's not the WBA.
Oh, my husband watches that. That's where you pretend to beat up on each other, right?
No, that's the WWF or the.
There's a difference. The UFC, then there's the WBA. The WBA is the World Boxing Association Alliance. That.
Yeah, the one they're talking about is the one where they're like kickboxing and beat the shit out of each other. Like,
I like that. That's fun to watch.
The choke me daddy stuff.
Yeah, yeah. The one
that's fun to watch.
The fake one. That's the. It used to be the WWF. I forget the WCW now, or what is it?
I don't know. I don't care.
I think it's
my husband watches
the
the clowns that pretend to wrestle, and he'll kick my ass later for that.
The one The Rock came from, which is like in John Cena, which I
It used to be the
national
WWF.
Bro, I stopped watching it when Hulk Hogan disappeared. That was in the 80s.
WWE. Thank you, Rahanar. Yes. I could not remember the fucking alphabet of.
Yes, because WWF is the World Wildlife Federation.
Which
they won that lawsuit back in the 90s.
Yes, they did. Fuck you, World Wildlife Federation.
And your panda.
And your stupid panda.
That's right.
Who would make a beautiful rug on my wall.
Jeez.
Mikey told me I was like a panda.
Oh.
You would also make a beautiful rug on my wall.
Cibies, find the door now.
I ate her liver with some fava beans and a nice
Put the lotion on the skin.
I'll see you guys later. I gotta go.
You got real smooth.
Don't hurt Precious.
Sweetie. But no, Mikey, you're absolutely right in that stuff, and you have to be able to but unfortunately, online, like if we did all that stuff and doing it in talk and voice, it can go much better.
For sure, yeah, it's a lot easier.
But when you start typing things out, it's so easy online to forget that those words aren't generated by Google's next supercomputer. They're an actual person with actual thoughts and feelings, some of which are probably thought out, others of which maybe not. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. It just depends, and that goes for either side. Because trust me, I meet just as many stupid people on the quote unquote my side, which we'll also get to, than any other side. It just happens. So
we all have bad opinions.
Yeah, like I said.
No, I don't.
Opinions are like assholes, and like Kishmisses, they stink.
Oh!
I thought it was everyone has one.
Yeah, sure, why not? Gosh. But
extending this into roleplay and IC sensibilities, this might be actually a disconnect, I would say. But when tackling politics in a roleplay, that's also a bit of a sticky situation, isn't it? I mean,
it can be largely because a lot of the unlike real world politics where there's actually consequences and people there's a real thing. Literally, in-game politics is practically entirely made up,
Yeah.
well,
and
that
keeping
is
it
also
in character,
centered on your ego.
Right, and it is entirely and I'm not saying this for everybody, obviously, but some people that play Mikey, however, remember, not associated with rphq.org.
I would also like to say that part of what makes it sticky is because people take people take real life politics and real world situations and they insert it into the game. Reality of lore be damned.
Yeah.
And then
God,
they take
hate
offense when people are like, that's not the way it's done here.
It's there is a future episode we have in the works for not bringing real world
Ideals?
morality and ideals into roleplay. Like, we get it, slavery is bad. In a lot of games, Conan, ESO, slavery is just a thing.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, I've seen it players in ESO that would not play Altmer because they had enslaved a lot of races in the past. So they could not sully themselves to play an Altmer. They had to play Bosmer.
They
And I'm like, are you serious? You're like
that
that's
degree
way out of
of
context.
That degree
Ironic.
of separation.
Ironic.
It's crazy.
Because everyone loves playing a Dunmer.
The irony.
Or
No,
me.
they don't often know what a Dunmer is, I don't think.
But those
No,
same
because
players.
the biggest thing about becoming a Dunmer is like, oh yes, a dark elf. Oh, I can't wait. Then you
Dunmer,
learn
that's
like,
one of them
wait a
green
minute.
nails, right? That's one of them green nail things that y'all are paying over.
That's right.
Saying.
I want to be Drizzle Doerden.
Oh gosh. No.
Can
If I had
Can I do all them
$100 for
scimitars?
every time- Yeah. I see so many Dritz and similar names to that. I just want to reach out and slap them. It's very
They
annoying.
probably literally give from UESP
Yeah.
name thing.
TK Dean in the chat. I promise I won't get political. Several drinks later, I am the Senate.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, that's great.
But all right. Well, I appreciate you guys calling in. Thanks for all the kind words and and
Floyd
Mikey.
has to go.
And
Floyd
what?
has to go. Floyd has to go. He didn't get to talk yet.
He said
Floyd.
he said he didn't have anything else earlier.
That's true. I will say.
But apparently that has changed. Go on.
And now I'm going to put my bid for presidential election.
Ooh.
Well, this is an unexpected turn up.
Turn up or
I don't-
turn up?
I
What are
don't
you,
know.
No,
the
it's a
Green
turn up.
Party?
He-
Just putting yourself here?
Yeah, he
I
just
need
has a
to.
turn
I
up.
need to see that application. I don't think you have enough signatures.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Well,
TK
Floyd's-
Dean is wasting away in the caller waiting room.
Floyd,
Yeah.
Floyd's,
He's
Floyd's
Irish.
gonna
He's
have a-
drinking. He's happy. Don't worry about it.
Oh, true enough.
Yes, cheers. No, the only thing I have to say is I live in the state of Montana. Our state voted Trump, but just in our capital, a mayor got elected who was a immigrant from Africa, and he was voted in by Trump supporters. So things are weird here.
You know what? Wakanda
and-
forever.
Yeah, right. That's probably why he won. Everybody got back from Black Panther.
Like, hell yeah! Let's get that Wakandan guy in here.
He's from Wakanda, right? I heard that dude was from the Black Panther country. I think we should elect him.
Mm-hmm.
I will say
Not forever.
on that point, Floyd, there's been a lot of unusual things happen. Like I can't remember where it was, but there was a lady who got voted in, and she ran on straight socialism.
Yep, it's New York. She's a straight
Yeah.
socialist. It's ridiculous.
I mean, so I think more people. Well, from what I've heard, people are accepting honesty. You know,
Yes.
over what you think they
Right,
want to
Jazz?
I'm letting her talk.
No. That when there was a point that we made. Like, I don't agree with Bernie Sanders. Jazz was a big Bernie Sanders guy. She was not a big Hillary person. She warned people, and I again don't agree with either one of them. Sanders, however, was honest about what he was.
Exactly.
And I can respect that, even if I don't agree with him. At least he was clear about what he wanted and how he wanted to do it.
I had many reasons to hate Hillary.
Yeah, and that's why
I just hated
my
her
state.
face.
In my state, the person who won the Democratic election was Bernie, and the person who won the Republican election was Trump, and that just tells you something right there. You know. But I think the whole point of this is just that we are in a time of change. If you're a student of history, you can see this is a turning point right now that we're in.
Preach, brother. Preach.
Yeah.
You're totally correct.
We are there. That is why there's such a dichotomy right now, and why a lot of people are going for each other's throats. Whereas, as role players, our thing that we do is get into the shoes of other people. So, my one thing that I'm going to preach, and then I'm going to leave, is that, you know, take what you learned from your role play and stepping into other people's shoes, and ignore the black and white interpretations, because it's way broader than that.
Exactly.
Oh,
And
God. If I go by that advice, everybody's in trouble. If I go off for him.
Yeah, we actually have a thing on here that a lot of the things today in politics, it's all about not listening to other people. And yet, one thing we all do as role players is literally listen to everything everybody else has to say, whether, you know, because we have to constantly communicate to make sure this shit works correctly. So,
what's communication?
Exactly. It sounds like you work for the post office.
Well, and roleplay is like the foremost type of storytelling. You know, we are taking the most advanced technology, all of the most advanced type of stories, and putting it all together. So it kind of makes sense that we would kind of role players would kind of be more aware of the lack of black and whiteness. You know.
Yeah, and that's not everything. Unfortunately, there's. Thanks a lot, stupid book. There's shades of gray and everything.
You can never say that.
Sometimes it's 50. Sometimes it's, you know, as you get older, it's more like 3 or 4.
Ashton brought up a good point a couple weeks ago. Me and him were chatting, and he said, "Hey, Strafe, you remember back in the 90s when no one is like, hey, who'd you vote for? I don't know. I don't care." And no one cared back then. And suddenly it's like this weaponized deal. It's gotten way out of hand.
There was it started around the hanging chads movement. Before that, in the 90s, voter participation was going down and down and down and down, and people were worried that, like, at the point we're at now, that, you know, we'd have like a 20%, 15% voter turnout on things, and it's swung the other way. The pendulum, it's a pendulum thing. It's swinging.
Oh, that's true.
And usually when it goes one way towards one thing, when it swings back, it goes the other way. And it's like that in a lot of politics too. You know, one guy does one thing, and you go so far to the left, eventually that pendulum swings back over to the right. And you go so far to the right, it goes a little further. What you have to worry about, and why you should keep that pendulum in the middle, is one of these days you're going to get somebody that it's going to swing either left or right, and they're going to snag that pendulum, and that's when things go very, very dark, very, very quickly. And we've seen that throughout history.
History.
You know, I think the biggest thing is, compared to then and now, is controversy pays. Literally, you will get profits upon profits.
That's the deal.
For doing something bad. That's why I don't remember the Romney Obama election. I also don't remember the McCain Obama. I don't remember any of those in the past. I heard about them when I was younger because I actually still paid attention to it. But I will never forget the 2016 election because how controversial that is. That is ingrained in my mind, and it will be for a really long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just because of the controversy.
Yeah.
Drama.
Yep. It's becomes more and more. It's becoming less and less about the policies and procedures and ideas, and more and more about the people involved, the rock stars, the individual. Never follow a person. Always follow your ideas. Always follow your principles, because people change and people come and go. But if your principles
they fuck
are
up sometimes
right, and they flip, but your it's the sorry. I have this on here somewhere too. I don't know where it's at, but it's the people that were, for example, and however you fall on this, people that were for the cake, the bakers not making a gay cake, and then the people that were for Starbucks kicking out those two black guys that were in their store, or people that were then for what's her face getting kicked out of that Red Hen. Or all this stuff. Or the Chick-fil-A. There was a Democrat that had to apologize for going to Chick-fil-A. People flip sides. One side. At one time, the one side is like, yeah, you have a right to refuse service, and then when it happens to their person, you don't have that right to refuse service. Yeah, actually, you always have a right to refuse service, regardless.
I love doing that, my job.
As long as it's not based on race. And this is my opinion. I had an argument with a quote unquote conservative who was saying that Facebook should be sued for not allowing free speech. I hate to break it to you, free speech on Facebook isn't a right. Facebook is a privately owned company.
It's a business, yeah.
It's a business. They can do whatever you want to do, and just like a baker, I wouldn't go to that store personally. I do agree that it's any more than a black baker should be made to make a KKK cake, for example. That is their artistic talent, and nobody should be forced to use their talent in something they may or may not believe in, whatever it is, however extreme you want to go to. But there are consequences to your free speech. There always have been. There always will be. And, that's just the way it goes.
It never once said that you have free speech. So say whatever you want without consequence. That's not what it. They expect you to have a consequence after what you say.
Yeah,
it's not just a fucking ticket to oh yeah, fuck you, and say
yeah.
No, you're.
Or
don't tell me that.
Some of the people that have come on here, they don't have the right to come on our show and blast the burn all black people into charcoal bullcrap that they were doing.
Yeah,
they don't have that right. Not on my show. And that's why all that shit got edited out and censored, and I censored it hard. And it felt good.
Censor me.
The Lord Ed.
Wow, and we are having to add all sorts of new terms to our Discord chat tonight because of those people. But, yeah, so we're going to carry on with this. But Mikey, Floyd, I appreciate you guys calling in. So,
you gotta stay sexy.
You stay sexy too, my friend. But you guys have a good night, and we'll talk at you later.
Yep, thank you so much. Happy 50th.
Later.
Thanks. Love you guys.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get to TK Dean here in just a moment. Hopefully, I get it. We're going all over the place on the politics here. But
go ahead.
What?
Do it. I said, go ahead, do it.
Do what?
I know you want to pop your lips.
But before we get actually here to TK Dean, because we may actually run a little over on this one, but I had kind of half expected it, so I hope that's okay, guys.
No.
It's not like you're paying us, It is what it is.
Well, I'm paying you in my presence, which really... I mean,
and we have people waiting, so let's
is there
move
a better payment
forward.
Well, let him wait. He's drinking. He's Irish. He's having a good time in there with Rahanar.
It's gonna be 4 sheets in the wind.
You act like he's not having a good time just because it's 4 a.m. where he's at. So anyway, without further ado, the next up we have here is Sibs, and well, enjoy.
She's cleaned up Divinity's Reach. Now she wants to spread her reach. Her name is Penelope Bellows. She works hard for gals, but more for the fellows. Yeah, she speaks well and sets a nice table. She knows how to make the guys lay down their cable. They call her Penelope Bellows. She hands out drinks to mellow. Yeah, so let's all vote for her who has quite the pillows. and has nice tracts of land. That's Penelope Bellows. Yeah. This ad was paid for by the nice patrons of Tyra that attended her etiquette school and her other businesses that need not be named. Vote Bellows 2018. She is the woman that has everything and is willing to share for the right price. Vote Bellows.
Well, there you go. Penelope Bellows for president of the MMO Multiverse.
Good luck with that, Penelope.
Mm-hmm. You're muted, baby.
Oh, sorry. Dang it.
You're still muted.
I'm not anymore. You know, you're
I'm just wishful thinking now.
Yeah, that's right. No, I had a meeting with Miss Bellows before the show, and yeah, she was busy, so she couldn't actually, say anything. But she had Hot Jessica do her little ad. What is
Hot Jessica's number?
What? I don't know, man. You'd have to
1-800 come and get it.
MMORPG Radio does not condone calling.
It's funny enough, her number starts with 1-800.
But yeah, I'm voting for Bellows.
All right. Well, before we continue on here, let's go to our caller waiting line and speak with TK Dean, all the way from the great country of Ireland. Beautiful this time of year. Especially
the Emerald Isles
and
are especially nice this time of year.
I hear it doesn't have any snakes, and which makes me already pretty much halfway wanting to be there.
Oh, you heard about that petty guy, did you?
I've heard about him. He's
he got rid of him there.
Sounds like a pretty good bloke.
He's a fun guy, I tell you that much.
That's
Had a couple of bottles of whiskey with that fella.
So appreciate you calling in to RPM Radio, TK. How's it going?
Appreciate being here. Thank you. I'm not too bad now. I haven't as we'd say over here, haven't a rat's arse about the politics of the America land.
What?
But yeah, I know.
What you know? We're the center of the world.
Yeah, it makes its way over here. I've heard about the Donald and his idea of blocking out Mexicans, but that's about it.
Actually, the sub idea for that is we're also going to build one on the East Coast to keep out the Irish from coming back, like in the early 1800s. Yeah, that's that one's the lesser known, and it seems like you'd be more prevalent to you.
Well, it applies to me,
Right?
I mean,
yeah.
Unless I turn into a completely different race of human, yeah, it applies to me.
Well,
God damn it.
You just throw
That
potatoes at it and climb the wall. That's all you got to do. Build a potato ramp.
You can do a lot with a potato.
That's right.
Just make sure you bring whiskey. We'll let you in if you bring whiskey.
That's all we're wanting is to.
Yeah, I'll bring you some. What was it? Tullamore Dew.
Yeah, it's
Ooh,
right.
Right. Oh yeah.
So what do you got, Dean?
I have an interesting little note written on my payslip. Politics of different continents in RP. Like how the politics differ from like Morrowind to Skyrim,
Yeah.
Because you'd be RPing that, especially with like, what's your RP guild? Servants of the Temple? Yeah.
Yes.
You'd have your own internal kind of politics going on in there.
Yeah, they do. Very much so.
Yeah. So you kind of have your own system going on, whereas like some Nord RP guild that's over in Skyrim, I don't know if there is one. I don't play enough.
Yeah.
They probably have their own internal system of politics.
They're like, I want to be leader. Let's fight. All right.
Drink. I can get behind that.
Yeah. No, there's no stereotype there.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Well, different provinces should have different kind of political dealings. I mean, you got the Altmer jacking with the Veiled Inheritance versus the Queen Loyalists.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Bosmer wanting to be more naturalist versus the King up in Grathwood. I mean, every province has its deal.
Yeah, which is one of the great things about a game like ESO is because the lore is so detailed from so many freaking games that you can actually do things like that. Whereas with EverQuest 2, it was like, well, there's Kinos and Freeport.
There you go.
That's it. Eventually, and then, it's like Clefin.
And there was Caliphan and Neriac. But I mean, it wasn't nearly as detailed.
No. And even then,
however,
it was all black. And for those guys, it was literally all black and white. There was no grayscale whatsoever. So yeah, and it's one of the things that I think makes the ESO roleplay a lot better. I see a lot of that too now that I'm getting a little more into the Star Trek. They have a lot of that stuff too, especially in the timeline where they're at, because they've got two different sets of Romulans at this point. They've got the Cardassians, they've got Bajor, now they've got the Gamma Quadrant, they've got the Federation, they've got all these different they've got all these different races and factions all vying for stuff. So it actually makes things a little more political wise, a lot more interesting there than it was in, say, EverQuest 2, where it was, it was literally all black and white for the most part.
Yeah, fun fact. The Cardassians are ruled by Kim. Yeah, Kim Kardashian.
I knew where you were going with it. I just didn't want to acknowledge it.
Yeah,
I'm just going to assume that's the alcohol talking.
Okay, that one went over my head and it came back and slapped me in the face. I'm sorry.
Hey, good night, everybody.
This is what you get for drinking at, 3 a.m. there? What?
Hey, yep. Actually, coming up to 2:43 here.
2:43, yeah. See, I'm getting my time zones down.
You're digging it. You're digging it.
But no,
it's so funny. Sorry,
he's still laughing now.
I told you he's gonna be 4 sheets in the wind by the time we got him in here.
Yeah, he's actually about on the 5th or 6th sheet, I think.
Try a whole bottle of Chianti. Good Lord. Tonight was a fun night.
Right after this, he's just gonna be a sheet on the bed, and that's pretty much all there's gonna be.
And a nice Chianti.
That's right.
Good stuff.
But no,
I've only had 1 glass of wine. I think that's all I'll have. Thank you.
I just saw the Discord. That's brilliant.
That deserves a gold star.
But yeah, that's what is one thing. It is a lot of fun. The only problem with playing politics, like we were saying before in an MMO, is the OOC egos that more often than not, unfortunately, get in the way of the fun that can actually be if it was entirely kept in character. You know?
Yeah. You have to kind of take some of it out of character as well.
Yeah,
I know
you
that
do.
myself.
But a lot of it's just the when it goes bad, it's typically somebody's ego that just does, or they don't want the consequence. It's the typical thing that happens in roleplay. Yeah. Someone doesn't want a consequence, or they actually did get outmaneuvered in character very well, but they don't want to deal with that, so they don't. And it
That's
kind of
another
all
good
goes
point.
to poop.
There's not just like big politics in roleplay. There's like smaller politics, like I blocked your sword. No, you didn't. I did.
But it says right here that I rolled higher than you.
Yeah, that's
I'm a vampire.
Politics. Oh God!
You can't block my sword. I'm a
vampire.
vampire.
I'm
Purple
actually
Wookiee alert, bro.
Blah, 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 blah.
I can't be killed by any mortal creation that you have upon this plane.
I am a god.
But my sword's coated in silver, and I rub garlic on it every day to keep it fresh.
This ain't no Witcher game, boy.
Well said.
But that brings me to it again. How politics kind of shapes the lore. I mean, if you don't have politics, you don't have like wars. And if you don't have wars, you don't have lore. And you kind of have to have all of those things coalesce
Basically,
together.
everybody's sitting around getting along, and that's boring as hell.
It so is. Like I'm making my own D&D world myself, and it's had 10 ages and at least 10 wars. So
yeah,
these are unrestful people, and it's just, if you don't have a war, you don't have lore.
You know, you have to figure out why the war was fought and
Yeah,
stuff like
without
that.
that, Game of Thrones would be really boring and just a bunch of people screwing their relatives.
Oh, yeah. Even bestiality sometimes.
Right. I mean,
As this conversation devolves quickly.
well,
South.
we were already talking about politics to start with, so it's not too far to devolve. Politics or bestiality, which one do I talk about? I don't know. Can I just get a punch in the nuts?
Politics. It's the lesser evil, believe me.
Oh, yeah. What was that you sent me today for some furry being interviewed? Strafe, yeah.
I found a real life purple Wookiee.
Yeah, he would look like it was trailer park furry. It wasn't even one of the good furries being interviewed. It was like a duct tape mask of a furry. It was trailer park furry. It was awful to just visually see.
Purple Wookiee exists, bro.
Yeah. It was like a gimp mask with duct tape ears. I don't know what was going on, but that's the guy that they had to interview for the furry community. And I mean, given it's a very low standard at times, sure, but come on.
They could have picked somebody that wasn't quite.
You could have gotten somebody
with
with like the degree in science that has the animatronic blinking eyes and the talking, Chuck E. Cheese mouth. Come on, do something better. Okay, and now we've had to add the term bestiality to the acceptable things we can say in Twitch chat.
Jesus. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
We've had to add KKK, bestiality, pedophile was another one. We've added all sorts of them tonight.
This would be the episode.
Thanks, politics.
Politics does that. See?
Politics brings the bestiality out in everybody. Am I right, everybody? Am I right? High five, anybody? Anybody? Five? Okay, so nobody. All right.
That was a good episode.
Good night, everyone.
But, no, I do appreciate you calling in, Dean. You got any last things to say before we let you go?
I suppose I've been around the block lately, and I have been onto Neverwinter. Any of you know that game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah. The new.
Yeah, I know it's not. Neverwinter Nights was the other one from back in Sega
that was
Genesis.
ages ago.
Yeah,
that was the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't mess with the 90s.
Nobody should.
But no, God no. Neverwinter. I was playing Ravenloft there lately, which is so good. Oh, it's amazing. But I actually found an RP community there as well.
Oh, really?
So strange, but yeah. Thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, I might have to see if I can't find him, reach out to him sometime.
It is a Dungeons and Dragons game.
Yeah, it's not too surprising, but
it's literally.
I am curious how organized it is. I will say the one thing with the Star Trek one is, man, it's even the people I've talked with there. It's a complete disorganized mess. There's no hub of any kind in that game, which is very strange for it's fucking Star Trek. You
found one of the good guilds, bro.
Yeah, I really did. They're a bunch of good people in Argo. So
strange ones in that game. I'm just saying.
Yeah, anybody that plays those creepy Cardassian snake people, they're really a creepy race. Personal views.
That's close to home, isn't it? Cardassian snake people.
Kardashian snake people also works, yeah.
Yeah, oh god.
Not the lizards.
So, yeah, they're Star Trek lizards. No, that's the Gorn.
That is the Gorn.
That is the Gorn.
Actually.
But
how'd you know your stuff?
Yeah, I'm a fucking gigantic nerd. I know, unfortunately, a little bit about every fucking sci-fi everything.
Speaking a bit of Klingon now, you will be after a while. Guarantee it. Oh no, I don't.
Yeah,
speak Elvish.
It's Kapla.
You're a Kapla. All right. Coming. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Dean, especially staying up so late, especially after your blood alcohol level is, I think we had it tested online, 2.5. You are almost dead.
Yep. That's me.
Hydrate, bro.
Yeah. I am actually turning into alcohol as we talk, so I haven't got much time left.
Well, appreciate you calling in, giant nerd. You just keep that accent sexy, and we'll talk at you later, brother.
Yes.
You too. Can't wait for the ERP episode.
That's coming up in episode 69. That's right.
Anyway, good night, everybody.
You have a good one, buddy.
TK.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for calling in. Appreciate that. So We kind of jumped all over there with the callers, but we'll hit this out here. We only have 13 more points to get to and one more commercial for 9 minutes worth of show.
Jiminy. We're not going to make it.
No, not right. So let's see here. One of the things, too, one of the reasons why you really can't talk about it, people have forgotten, as we were saying, to have a thoughtful, reasoned discussion on whatever it is they're taught. One of the unfortunate things about it's I know it's definitely a thing in America, but I don't think it's just America. If I'm looking at the rest of the world correctly, people are no longer taught how to think or to research and to think on their own. They're taught what to think. They're taught what you're supposed to. This is how it's supposed to be. And
they're lazy. They don't want to look for themselves. They just want to be fed stuff. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
And it's nearly all, at these days at least, in my opinion, it's nearly all emotion to the majority of people that quote-unquote follow politics. So when something is brought up, it evokes a fiercely emotional response that nearly always spirals into an officer, Kishmas, telling them to stop.
Yes.
Right. And it's a lot of politics is very emotion based, and it's not thought based like it should be. It's not ideals, it's not principles, it's not this over that. It's the, well, I don't agree with that, and you're a fucking moron if you do, or you're a Nazi, or you're a communist, or whatever insult you want to do.
There was a case of that in Alanu, and literally one person started this whole gang and came after me. And Jazz had to get on and shut it down, because I am an officer, and they would not tone it down. It was pretty bad.
Oh, so you were telling them to, like, guys, cut it out, and they were like, no.
I said, hey, we could go into this, but no one's going to talk to each other into the night. Let's just role play. And they did not give it up. They did not give up the ghost. Jazz had to step in and shut it down. And she wasn't even online. I think she was. Something was going on.
No, I wasn't. I was elsewhere. I logged in, though, and I took care of it.
It's interesting because, I'm 22, just to let you guys know, but...
He's 22!
But, people my age don't think like I do. They don't think, with reason or logic. It just hurts to interact with people my age because they're so driven by, like, well, this is right because my emotions said this, and I have to listen to my own emotions, and emotions this, emotions that. It's like, well... Obviously, but we're talking about like a serious subject that that requires emotion and a moral compass, but does not require you to just completely shut your brain down and just spout shit out of your mouth.
If all else fails, quote Spock, Dr. McCoy, please stow your emotionalism.
It's true.
Very much so. And by the way, added to the permitted list, episode 69 had to be added. Apparently the bot banned or the 69. And yes, great Whoopdini. It's nothing personal against you that half your posts have been having to had been authorized. It's ever since we had that big kerfuffle, we put the mod bot on very high levels. So certain things like 69 are needing to be done on an individual basis as they come up. So it's not personal. It's just we had to do that to make sure that we kept the trolls from coming in here and putting,
because that one just about
N-words and all that stuff all over the place.
Bad.
Yeah,
we got a pretty hardcore R3 unit now taking care of it.
Oh,
but
yeah,
he's pretty brutal.
Yeah, he's brutal, but we'll soften his touch just a little as you go. So another thing too, and like I was saying, I was like this for some time. It's. Excuse me, I had a hiccup. It's really easy to be emotional about stuff because it's important. I mean, unfortunately, as much as we all hate politics, it is unfortunately kind of important in the real world, and it's super easy to just follow along with the choir. It doesn't require a lot of research. All you have to do is listen to the choir, for whatever side you're on. But the thing of that is, it's all a scam. If all you're doing is listening to what other people tell you, do you really believe it? If you're not being challenged by a thing, I personally understand more of what I believe when I'm challenged to not just go off of what I've heard, and I need to look it up when someone challenges me on it.
Never join the bandwagon and digital lynch mob, because
Exactly.
that's the brainless way to do things.
Yeah, and if you have to resort to calling, like if you're in an argument and you've got to resort to calling them a libtard or a conservaturd, or like I was saying earlier, where you call Obama by his Barry or call Trump by his original name, which is Drumpf, which, by the way, both of which are terrible insults if you're just calling people what their last names and first names used to be. That's just stupid. That's not really even an insult. But just putting that out there. There's better ways to insult people, like their looks. What? If you're having to do that, you're already more than halfway, in my opinion, to losing the argument and changing absolutely nothing.
The minute you start saying insults and titles, you can't have a discussion because they've already made up their mind.
But that could also go on the other side of the person who's being reasonable could easily be trying to gaslight you.
Yeah.
Right.
And make them seem like that guy. Haha, you started insulting me, you lost.
Mm-hmm. Right. But if and it is a gaslight thing, but at the same time, they do have somewhat of a point. If that's where you have to go to make your point, like the guy I got into an argument with Facebook. At the end of it, I called him Fluffy. It wasn't an insult on his waist. Guess how I don't know who he was. I was just like, whatever, Fluffy, because he was being very spongy on his opinions. He was actually more full of air than substance. Fluffy. So his response, of course, well, I'm 240 pounds of something you don't want, boy. Apparently, I hit a nerve. By the way, I weigh about 245 to 240, depending on if I've eaten or pooped. So,
thank you for that image.
It wasn't really that terrifying because weight-wise, we were the same. Physical-wise, I am a dirty cheater and I will bite him.
Or pull thumbs.
Fight to win.
I will pull his thumb and tell him, look what you made me do. Isn't that right, Sib?
Yeah, he will.
See the previous episode, it's not spousal abuse.
Or if he doesn't want to turn off the light, he'll throw your pillow out of the bed, so you have to get up and go turn off the light. He's a dirty fighter.
That has
dirty
never happened.
Fighter.
That is, I have never forgotten to turn off the light, pulled the pillow out from under your head, one of 15, by the way, and kicked them all over and thrown them towards the light switch. That has never happened specifically, regardless of how really specific that sounds. It's never happened. What? You have no proof.
I know you. That is proof.
Hey, I just want to throw out to TK Dean. Aridin in the Discord chat. I don't know if he's seen it or not, but she said her husband is playing Neverwinter.
Oh, okay. He did.
Yeah, there's somebody you might reach out to if you want to find out, the RP scene or if there is an RP scene.
I think the great part about that game is you can literally create your own quests.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's perfect for RP.
Same for Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek has that too in the Foundry system. Although I think you can only do it solo so far as I've seen. I don't know if you can have multiple people or not.
Oh, that sucks.
Kind of the downside to it. Yeah, I've bumped into them all the time. And I actually ran one thinking it was a game quest, and it was so good when it popped up like, how did you think of this player-made quest? I was like, I thought it was a fucking dev-made quest, so pretty good, I guess. But when you insult people, like I said, you're already halfway there, and immediately, if you're actually trying to make a valid point, but that's how you start out, you lose half your listening audience. No matter how good your point is, because you've already shown you're emotional, and you're only going to end up then talking to the choir that's on your side. You're not going to. The rest of the people aren't going to pay attention.
You're not going to change minds. You're just cheerleading your side and tearing that person down, or trying to.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is that you've being open-minded. Everybody says I'm open-minded. You're not. A lot of people aren't open-minded. They just think they are. They want to believe they are. But when you're open-minded and then you say things like, that person shouldn't be allowed to talk, now you're not so open-minded anymore, regardless of how horrible it might be. I personally, this is just me, If some fascist Nazi comes out and wants to talk, let him talk. Don't shut him down, because they will do more damage to themselves by talking than by shutting them down. Because then all you have, you do the exact opposite of what would actually happen. For one, you're bringing attention to it. Two, it is so stupid. I have it in here somewhere. Who gives a shit what some guys with a tiki torch and a polo shirt do? They're fucking stupid and ridiculous.
You let them hang themselves. Let them do their
that's
thing.
The
best justice.
Yeah, that's probably a horrible way to put that there, Straffe.
Well, hey, that's how we did. That's how we did in RP.
That's easy.
Give them enough rope to let them.
Yeah, to let them hang themselves with. Yeah, to put themselves in their own trap. Because people, it's the difference. It's the difference between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. They both, which is funny because, to put it in more modern terms, it's the difference between the King of Wakanda and Killmonger. They both wanted the same thing for their people. The way they went about it was entirely different. One of them reached the hearts and mind of people and actually changed hearts and minds. The other one was violent and was doomed to failure from the start.
He took the quick and easy path.
Right. And that's why, yes, I get Malcolm X is still remembered, but he didn't accomplish the same goal that Martin Luther King did by his ways of peace and marching. And I mean, he had an entire thing, all his marchers. I don't know how many people know this, but to march on a Martin Luther King thing back in the day, you had to agree to certain terms. You had to not fight back. You had to not be violent. You had to be peaceful no matter what happened to you. And we all know the horrible, horrible things that happened to those people. And in the end, what the people saw on TV and heard on radio changed the hearts and minds of an entire country.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guys opposing him turned to the freaking villains and it was on display for everyone to see.
Right. And when you see teenagers in low 20s being, sprayed down with fire hoses, being attacked by German shepherds and things like that, the American people, we have a lot of bad history. We have a lot of flaws. We are not a perfect country. No country is perfect, regardless of the nationalism and all that. The perfect existence does not exist.
It's because everybody's flawed.
Right, everybody's flawed. To quote Chris Pratt recently, you are not perfect. You are flawed, and you were made that way. You can always strive to be it, but you're never going to make it. So that's it. You have to take that Martin Luther King approach to these things and think things through and be peaceful about it. To try and I get it. It's so hard. It's so hard. Insulting is so much more fun. Oh my God!
Again,
so
it's
much
the
more
easy
fun.
path, though.
And if you always strive to try, then you're always going to have a goal.
Yeah.
You're going to have something to shoot for instead of just, getting angry and upset about everything. If you always strive to do that, have an open mind and work with people and make it better, then you have a goal to work towards. You're not just set. You don't have to be stuck.
I think if people listened more, they would find they had more in common with each other on each side of the political spectrum than they thought they did by just being force-fed stuff they watch on TV or listen to or whatnot.
Because I don't know anybody that just wants to have, a crappy life. Everybody wants to do better.
Yeah. For the most part, everybody I know, they always want, the more better. And
they want what's best for them and their family.
And Great Houdini, Malcolm X, at the end of his life, did renounce the militarism.
He did.
Unfortunately, I think that may have also been what got him killed.
That's exactly what got him killed.
So, but you are correct. But I'm just talking in the moment of that stuff. But yeah, and you're exactly right. Like I was saying, both you have to be open-minded, and both sides, left to right, in other countries, however many parties you have, I don't know. Trust me, I wish we had more than two parties here in our country as well. they both claim to be open-minded. They both think they're open-minded. And honestly, almost neither side really is. And each side sees themselves as the paragons of virtue and inclusiveness. But, like, are they? Are they really? Because both sides can be pretty shitty about stuff, They're kind of like both about as open as a Chick-fil-A on a Sunday. For those of you who don't have Chick-fil-A, they're closed every Sunday. It sucks. But
that's why there's a song out there about it.
That's right. There is a great song out there about it. Love that song. The fact of the matter is the other side, quote unquote, isn't what you probably think it is. In fact, the vast majority are not unlike you are in day-to-day life. And while we're led to believe that, the left is the extremist, the right is the extremist, and both sides do have that. They do have, and as they call it now, which is just a fucking lazy term, alt-left and alt-right. Just say the alternative. We get it. It's a dumb name. It's always been there. It's just the newest term.
It's not even the correct definition of alternative.
No.
Like it's supposed
neither of them are alternatives. They're the extremes. It's just a stupid term.
It's a buzzword, bro.
It is a buzzword. But the typically what it is the majority are the five of us. They're the 18 to 20 of you that have been listening this entire night. They're not the it fluctuates. But they're not the ones out there doing the I don't even say protests, because not all protests are bad. I mean, they've kind of gotten in bad ways. It's the difference between a Berkeley protest where they're destroying their own town, or whatever.
That just goes back to Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King.
Right, exactly. But they're a vocal minority, is what they are. The crazy ones that have kind of gotten the what the other side, 50% of a lot of people think the other 50% are like 10% of the crazies on each side, And I get this. We all know there's crazy people everywhere. We role play with them.
They're called purple Wookiees.
We're adults that play pretend.
Exactly.
Which we need to do our last.
We do. I'm getting to it. Yeah, and actually, so yeah, you gotta have it's. Try to actually keep your mind open. If you see somebody that may not think exactly like you, that maybe they think taxes should be lower and you think that they should be higher, or the whatever.
Taxation stuff.
Take your pick. Yeah. If you think 1% for tea is too much and we have to throw a party, versus
party
in Boston.
Exactly, some 200 years ago. Which, by the way, for those of you that don't know it, that was what they were upset over, was a 1% tax. Keep that in mind the next time you look at the 30% of your paycheck that goes straight to the government. Lower taxes. With that, we have one final presidential candidate. Now, this one may not be from an MMO, but he is renowned. World-renowned, in fact. He's part of I don't know, Strafe, would you say it's a brotherhood?
It is a Brotherhood of Steel, I think.
It's a Brotherhood of Steel, yes, indeed. So, without further ado, Strafe.
Brothers and sisters, the road behind us has been long and fraught with difficulty. Each and every one of you has surpassed my expectations by rapidly facilitating our rise in the roleplay community. You've accomplished this amazing feat without a hint of purpose or direction. I am most impressed. Without question, now that our campaign is in position, it is time to reveal our purpose and our mission. Beneath the MMO Multiverse, there is a cancer known as the Purple Wookiees, a malignant growth that needs to be cut out before it infects the surface of each realm. They are experimenting with dangerous, out-of-lore ideas that could prove to be the MMO Multiverse's undoing for the second time in recent history. The Purple Wookiees have created a weapon that transcends the destructive nature of the Drama Llama Guild Bomb. They call this creation the No Responsibility Clause. a role player's abomination of lore that is free-thinking and masquerades as a sparkly vampire were-Vulcan hybrid. The notion that a purple Wookiee can be granted free will to break lore is not only offensive, but horribly dangerous. And like the Drama Llama Guild Bomb, if it isn't harnessed properly, it has the potential of rendering us all extinct as a roleplay species. I am not prepared to allow this purple Wookiee scourge to continue. Therefore, the purple Wookiees and their no responsibility clause are considered enemies of the Brotherhood of Steel and should be dealt with swiftly and mercilessly. This campaign will be costly, and many lives will be lost, but in the end, we will be saving roleplay kind from its worst enemy, itself. Ad Victoriam. Paid for by the Arthur Maxon Campaign for RP President. Say no to purple Wookiees. Vote for consequences. Vote Brotherhood of Steel in 2018. I am Arthur Maxon, and I approve this message.
Get the fuck out of here, Brotherhood of Steel.
Your face, bro.
Listen, Jism's coming after you.
There's gonna be jism all over the place.
Oh my goodness.
I was talking about the posters. What are you guys thinking?
I was thinking about fall.
That sounds like a pretty stand-up guy trying to get rid of those sparkly were-vampire Vulcans we all
It's
see.
not a bad platform. It's not a bad platform. Well, you'll have to see how it goes with the voters in November. There will also be a few commercials here and there as we carry on. There will actually be a debate between these 5 individuals, one of which is obviously better than the other. Vote
Can't wait.
2018. So
Jism Reich the Fourth.
Yeah, we're gonna go over a little bit, but is anybody surprised? Really, we knew it's a 50th episode. Come on, we did this for 49,
exactly,
and that was a great episode. By the way, again, Wakachoto, awesome having you call in last episode. That was really good.
Yes,
Strafe, loved it. By the way,
sorry about your flooding.
Your brother was cool.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
He's a lizard.
Sorry about your flooding in your house, bro. That really does suck. That's a bullshit thing. Nobody likes that. Completely unrelated to anything. We just feel bad for him.
Indeed.
So the other thing to get to that's always in politics. Anybody want to guess? Anybody? The media. Here's a hint. Guys. It's all bad.
All of it.
Burn it to the ground. No,
clickbait.
For the love of God, don't take that for real and actually go shoot up. I don't know. Newspaper, for example, because you're a fucking lunatic.
Good call, buddy.
People are out of their mind. By the way, need more mental health care in their country. There's a lot of crazy people.
I have to say this real quick.
Go for it.
Our bot. Yeah. So, oh gosh, Kismas. His.
Oh no,
Jism
candidate.
Was actually. Jism is now a loud term on
candidate
Twitch.
Was
Twitch
not
chat.
allowed on the Twitch chat.
Ah yes.
He is already being censored.
I am being censored.
This is an unfair election.
I went in there and uncensored it.
Wow. Yeah.
I saw that. I started giggling. I was like, "That's funny."
Jism is preferred alternative to communism, and the Autobot was like, "This message is sexual in nature. Will you allow it?"
Like the Fourth is very sexual.
I will say
that R3 units paying off dividends.
He has a vast vocabulary of misspelled words. Holy shit. That's awesome. Good catch there, Sib. So yeah, the media, basically, it's all bad. They're no longer objective in any way, shape, or form. At least especially not the major. You might be able to find it online at like private little things here and there. I can't name one for you, but
you also have to be careful not to depend on blogs that are taking the place of actual vetted news.
Which is unfortunate because I was
Fake
Fox
news.
News, CNN, NBC, all the insert lettered alphabet and channels here. often get their news from blogs now.
Yes, they
as
do.
A news
it's sad.
source.
And they echo each other.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
And they'll echo. And it
They
will happen on
recycle
both.
the stories. They fix them up. They use fake photographs that they've inserted from previous. They all do it. It's nauseating. I've given up on the news mainstream for the most part. It's ridiculous that I get the majority of my news pings from Facebook, and then I spend the next 3 hours checking it out.
Jazz, I'm so proud of you.
I've always done that. It's just I finally just got to the point where I was so sick of the mudslinging and the bullshit that I finally just said, you know what? I'm going to turn off all of y'all because you're all giving me a headache. It's no different than listening to two people argue in my guild hall.
But their monies. They need money.
Yeah,
And that's the thing.
the difference
It's just about
is
money.
the people in the newsroom got paid to mudsling in your.
To lie to you.
To
They're
lie to you.
paid to lie to you. To look
The
at
other
you in
people
the
are
eyes.
just selfish buttholes.
All they care about is their advertisers and getting views for the advertising, and that is all it has
Again,
become.
this goes back on what I said before: controversy, profiteering.
Yes, that's
right.
what it is. It's all it is. It's all for hits. It's no different than a website that posts something extravagant that isn't true, and they do it just so that their
10
advertisers
of these
get
things are amazing. Number 7 will surprise you. Click
Right.
here.
Exactly. It's all the same thing. It's no different. They started it in the 70s when they'd be like, you know, they'd give you a little blip and then they'd say more at 6. And it just kind of went downhill from there. And
That's one of my favorite things. I forget what movie it was from. It's like, one of these 5 products in combination will kill you. Find out what they are at 11.
yeah.
Wait, shouldn't you tell us that right now?
And like a lot of the old newscasters that were around in the 50s, 60s, and 70s are still there. They're still writing things. They're still newsworthy and worth checking out. They're old, but they're still out there. They're not dead yet. And they often have blogs that you can refer to see what's really going on.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they will comment on what's going on from their viewpoint. But they'll also tell you, I checked out this and I checked out that.
Right.
Both sides are completely full of shit. This is what's really happening.
I would
and
like
I appreciate that.
I would like to point out a certain subreddit on Reddit. It's called r/neutral politics. That is a very, very good subreddit to go on, and if you're really political and you like to debate that stuff, it's very good. It's very heavily moderated. You can only respond. You only can post things that have a source after all your debate. You have to post a source where you put your, all that. You have to no mudslinging, no nothing. And I haven't seen it. And honestly, all the ones that I do see, they always, like 5 minutes later, I see it go like comment removed. So they have to be, civil.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. There's also a sister subreddit called Neutral News, which is the same thing.
Oh, there you go.
So go sub to that.
Yeah. But
So what were they called again?
r/neutral news. r/neutral.
If you Google like Reddit neutral news and stuff like that, it'll probably pop
Okay.
up too. Yeah. Something to check out. But like with the big Fox News and all the other numbered guys, there is truth in those things, but the problem is it's so buried under opinion and what's the thing?
Political bias.
Bias. Thank you. That there is a truth out there, Mulder, but it's always somewhere in the middle, and it might take some actual digging and research to find out. Which I know it sucks. We all hate research. But and I will say, the media has its uses. If you need to see a skiing squirrel report or local stuff, that's great. It's really good for local news to keep you up to date on things like that. Most of the time. Even still that, probably check it up, because even there, you still have local politics, and local politics are still awful, too.
And corrupt as hell half the time. It's just ridiculous.
Right. But, so never trust any one source without research, especially if something doesn't feel right. Go for it. Check it out. The other big issue right now that we have in politics and in a lot of people, and this is where a lot of it comes from, is tribalism. Is what is a huge heart of all the issues right now between the two sides. It's many people we have a tribe. Then if you're not lockstep in line with that tribe, you are out of the tribe. So that's like I was saying. I find myself at this point debating more with quote-unquote conservatives as I ever have with liberals or people that may not think like I do. Because for me, my ideals and my principles matter. I'm not going to change my way of thinking just because my tribe is now in power instead of the other side. So it was I'll make a confession. I did not vote for Trump. I didn't vote for anybody for president this year.
See,
it was the first time ever because I voted the last 2 times for people I didn't fully believe in. And I promised myself in 2012, I am never going to do that again. I'm not voting for the lesser of 2 evils.
And I'll say this. The people that say, well, you didn't vote, your opinion doesn't matter, tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I didn't vote. I went to the polls. I voted on all our local stuff. I voted for my senator. I voted for my congressman. I purposely did not vote for a president because I didn't believe in either one of them. I didn't.
Exactly.
There's not some things Trump has done I like. I still think he's a pretty vile human being. I liked Obama as a human being. Didn't really care for his policies. I'm trying to be consistent. You know, I don't like people that maybe or maybe don't cheat on their wives or say horrible things about women or whatever. Take your pick. I mean, there's a laundry list of them. You know, if you don't know what they are by now, you're really not paying attention. But you have to be consistent. You know, principles and ideals, they matter. And if you're not challenged enough, you may not know exactly what they are. And they can get wishy-washy. And a lot of people's stuff is very wishy-washy. You know, I'm just not going to change how I think and violate what I personally believe in because my side or that side is against. I'm supposed to be against what I used to be for, or I'm supposed to be for what I used to be against because that's the way the tide turned. You can't live your life like that. It's not a good way. And if you are, you know, I get it. I was like that for a time. We all probably were. It takes a bit of doing, you know. And this tribalism thing that we've got going on, it's hard to get away from. And if you really know what it is, if you've never heard of the tribalism thing, look it up. Political tribalism.
It's getting
Google
really
it.
rabid these days, to be honest.
It's very bad. But here's the thing. Your party is not a tribe. It's just a political party. It changes over time. It changes with the polls. It could go from everyone in the 80s and 90s, Democrat and Republican alike, completely against gay marriage. It was Hillary said it was a bedrock principle until she ran for president,
Exactly.
and then she was completely for it.
The irony.
Yeah.
And then she turned around and changed everything because she wanted to appeal to people who had no memory.
Right.
Then there
I
is,
had a memory, which is
then
why
there's
I
this.
didn't like
There's
her.
this. I actually read about this recently that I didn't know about. She was for the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yes, she
But
was.
when Donald said, "Well, this is why it's bad because I'm a businessman," she's like, Donald's right. I'm gonna, change my opinion. And then that whole thing, and guess what? He used it in the debates, and that's why he won because he used lots of things against her. I'm pretty sure I've, read The Art of War plenty of times. He used that against Hillary. He used psychological warfare, and he won by a landslide. Even though everyone's like, "Oh no, he didn't. He's not going to win. 95% chance of Hillary."
I'll be honest. When I honestly, when he was the I honestly thought she was going to take it. I really did. And
I did too.
And even that, I still didn't vote for him because, like I said, my principles mattered more than that.
It goes back to what I said earlier. People are starting to lean towards honesty. Whether you're, whatever it is. If you're honest, people are going to, lean towards you more than if you're trying to tell us what we want to hear or what you
Unless
think
they're
we want to
blinded by
hear.
tribalism. I hate to say it.
Yeah,
No matter
and there
what
are a
you say,
lot.
how honest it is, you're on that tribe and you are the evil spawn that ever was, and you must die. Like it's gotten some points to that level.
And we won't go into the details. I know we'll try. Jazz, sweetie, I love you, and I know you fought the good fight on your side. But she like I said, she was a Sanders guy or gal. Sorry.
I will say this. I started out as a Bernie Sanders guy. I was in the trenches fighting for him to become
until
Bernie.
And what I was getting at, until it was stolen from him. You guys want to talk about stealing an election?
Oh my God!
You want to talk about corruption, and you want to talk about bias.
When they were
DNC,
sued,
that super delegates, that was.
And
bad.
when they were sued by angry people, they said we are under no obligation to run an honest campaign, and they won in court. And that was a turning point. I stopped going to Democrat meetings. I haven't been back.
And a lot of people don't understand that. Oh, well, why did he win? Why did Trump win? Well, number one, there's a lot of unnamed voters, and there was a lot of people who flipped sides.
Jazz, I owe you a hug now.
Why?
I never thought I'd hear those words come out of your mouth.
Well, no, and
I'm still a Democrat, but
I
still
is. I know this.
I refuse to take part.
It's the same thing. We went through it. We went through it with we had fucking what's his face McCain and Mitt Romney. Neither one of them their bedrock principles were. It was bedrock. Unfortunately, the bedrock was also upon a layer of sand. They were terrible.
Yeah, because one of them didn't care about 47% of the country, but
right.
That was fantastic, wasn't it?
And
that just made me laugh. Cause I'm like, oh, what a fucking idiot!
Yeah, it's like, oof, yeah. Probably shouldn't say that ever.
Well, to be fair, he didn't say it. He didn't intend on being recorded. So,
neither did Trump with his pussy comment, and yet it's still out there.
That's true.
But given he was, let's all be honest, he personally, I think he was like us being here at our 50th episode. I think Donald Trump was just as surprised he was a president. I think it's the same level of,
Who would have seen?
Holy shit, that worked.
Honestly, my dad, who is, by the way, very, very conservative, very Republican. He's a conspiracy theorist. Well, he believes that Donald Trump was the puppet of Clinton because of their past relationships, and it backfired horribly on him.
I've heard those theories. So I will say that they're probably theories, but I had heard that at the time as well.
Well, they're both lizards anyway, so.
And
cue the Twilight Zone music.
Yeah, I think one of the places I heard it from was somebody that said something like, "I'm coming from you from behind my tinfoil microphone with my entire brain tied behind my back just to make it fair." I'm not a huge fan.
I mean, I grew up very conservative Republican and filled with conspiracies. I have like 5 books in my room about conspiracies that I've read multiple times.
So you're the reason we got fluoride turning the frogs gay.
Listen, there are species. There are species of frogs. All right,
life
exactly
finds a way.
And and you know what? When I rewatched that movie once again, I looked it up, and it's true.
Oh yeah. That was actually based on fact. Yeah,
it is true. Yeah. It is absolutely true.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, can I just say real quick, one of my favorite conspiracy theories about the Obama administration was that video where the Secret Service man was supposed to be a lizard guy. I loved that one. It was just like a really bad angle on one of his Secret Service, and here we show it was all mechanical voiceovers, and here we see the Secret Service agent's mask or camouflage shielding holographic projection is undone, and you see his true lizard form.
I remember there was a video.
Or it's just a bald Secret Service agent, and the light was reflecting off his dome badly.
One of my favorite moments. My dad showed me a video of Hillary coughing and taking a drink, and something fell into her glass. And he's like, "Those are lizard eggs." I'm like, "Dad, it's loogies, you nasty fuck."
Does he know where eggs come from?
Roleplay.
I mean, unless her mouth's a vagina, I don't.
Right.
Well, if she's a lizard race, or an alien race,
true.
you never know.
We're gonna need him and Floyd to call back in and tell us if that's a possibility or not. don't, please don't. I really don't. There's some things even I don't want to go into.
And I watched it multiple times. I'm like, yeah, that's loogies, you nasty fuck.
Yeah, she's
Stop making me watch it.
She has some serious, and I will say, I'm not a fan of Hillary's. She has some serious health issues, and I hope she gets the help she needs.
I mean, you look at Bill Clinton now. He looks like he's like on his last leg. I'm like, Hillary's sucking the life essence out of him.
She's a succubus. Well, I will say that position.
Nah, that would be Monica Lewinsky.
That position ages. Poor Bush, Obama, even Trump. After only like almost 2 years, a year and a half now. Good God, the stresses of that job. I cannot imagine.
I could not imagine.
I mean, just look at
see them when
if
they
you
go
haven't
in
looked
the office to when they leave. It is.
Oh man, look at 2008 Obama to 2012, and then look at 2016. He went in a pretty good looking guy, and he came out looking like fucking Morgan Freeman.
He did.
He aged 50 years in that 8. Everybody when we were growing up, like, I want to be president. Nobody, no, you don't want to be president.
Not now.
Well, not ever. I can't. Could you? I mean, just imagine you have to send people off to die. In wars, you have to make decisions that affect people, millions of people, global people, billions.
Regarding the before and after presidency, when someone says you're giving me gray hairs, it means you're stressing them the fuck out.
Yeah, and you voters, you're stressing everybody out. Just saying. Exactly. But so yeah, the tribalism thing is bad. Like I was saying. Parties aren't a tribe. They're not. You don't tack yourself to these things. They literally, like we were saying with the gay marriage things and other stuff like that. It is taxed to polls, and as soon as those polls ship, and as soon as the popular opinion goes, so goes the politician, so goes the party. I personally have always, like I said, I've always been against gay marriage, and regular marriage on the governmental level.
Yeah, so make sure you add that.
Right. I don't my marriage to Sib, hey baby, how much did it mean for us to get that government official document saying that we were married? I mean, how do we cherish that? It's hanging on our wall somewhere, I'm sure, right?
It's the thing we forget about every year.
Yeah, it's crammed between our tax returns.
It's also great to remind us when our anniversary is.
We did actually forget our anniversary for about 4 years straight, and before we finally had to go back and dig the document, which, by the way, was as important as our tax returns because that's about where it was stuffed in between.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I personally, the less government you have involved in your day-to-day life, the happier you will be, and also probably the more you're going to get out of your paycheck. But in these days especially, I mean, I am so sick and tired of hearing about fucking politics. It's exhausting all the time. We hear about it in games. We hear about it in our movies. Every movie that comes out, for some reason with Scarlett Johansson, it's some big controversy over race is now a political thing, where before it was like, don't be a dick, everybody's the same. Yeah. Now it's this huge political issue. And I get it how it used to be, and in some ways it still is. There's definitely problems in nothing is ever perfect.
It is still out there.
Racism is an actual thing.
Yes, it is still.
Sadly, you still see the tribalism in games, and it's bringing the real world crap into your escapism.
Right,
and that's when you run into problems in your guild when people can't shut up.
Yeah, and when you're like, oh, America's got this big censorship, but but meanwhile, Australia isn't going to get like things like, oh, we happy few because of, it's like, just let people decide what they want to do. You don't need a government telling you what's good or bad for you as an individual. And go ahead, Sim.
There was a comment like when the show first started from, I think it was Insomniac, and if it was you, can you repost that? But they said something about in game, they have a channel that people can go and just discuss, politics if they want to, but that's on them, and that's where it stays. Instead of just completely banning it out of the guild, they allow that, which to me is not a bad idea. I mean, but it stays there.
I disagree myself, but no, it doesn't work. We tried it at Silver. all it did was generate large amounts of argument and people getting pissed and leaving the channel. And then, of course, sending me all kinds of bitching and moaning and crying and fussing. And then it would bled over into RP. And it was just, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work because people can't leave it in that channel. It won't stay there.
I remember servants. We decided to have a lore channel where they could debate lore because lore debates in this guild sometimes get a little hands. So we're like, okay, let's create this Lord Beard channel. It's where people debate lore. And we did that for a specific person because I was tired of fucking hearing it. Starts with a B, but I won't go any further than that. But after that...
Was it Roger?
Yeah, it was me. But but after that, no one... They didn't start debating because they would debate in the public channel. We created this channel and said, all right, here, debate it. They stopped and they didn't do it. The channel was unused for 6 months.
Yeah.
It was unused. It was like, well, we want to do it publicly. It's like, no, this is what this is for. Why don't you fucking just debate it here, you asshole?
Right.
You stole their fun, though,
Well,
bro.
and
I stole their fun by making a public channel for them to do it.
Well,
I'm not doing that again.
It's kind of like communism. It sounds, on paper, it seems like it's a really good idea. It works fantastic in Star Trek. Look it up. But the problem is, people aren't. We're not that. You have to be you'd have to be a very virtuous and honest people for a system like that to work. Could it work? Not with the way we are. Not with human nature. And unfortunately, like.
I don't like sharing. I don't like sharing things.
Right. Maybe that guild that worked real well, but I could see where probably 99% of the time something like that would probably fail, and like Jazz said, it would bleed over. Yeah.
It would be a nightmare for the guild leader. I would have to constantly be saying, I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking. No, go away. Stop talking to me. It would be constant. And it was, that was probably the only benefit to running Silver Circle really in a real life sense is that after 10 years of it, I pretty much tried everything once.
Hey.
So when people tell me you should do this with your guild, nope, been there, done that, doesn't work.
And I know what you're thinking, Kishmas. Yes, she allowed that too.
And yes, I have tried everything once.
Oh.
Oh my, ear sex.
Yes.
Did you say beer
That's
sex?
interesting.
Mine
beer sex. No, ear. EAR.
Oh, okay. I thought you said beer sex. I was like, what is that?
Beer sex happens every single Friday night at
That's-
3 a.m.
That's when there's beer and someone comes home. Yeah.
It's sad. Some of this tribalism that gets in guild chat and it's allowed to run amok. Literally, they will find the people that are against them, and they will blacklist that character
and
from
they will
roleplay,
target.
and they will spread it around until the point where that person that they're targeting literally either has no roleplay anymore, or he literally has to go to the other side of the freaking game.
As a true believer, you would say something like that.
As a true believer, yeah, I would say something that, yeah.
And I would have to say, and I don't know, and I'm sure you guys maybe could tell me, I do not know why, even when I am in a game where nobody knows who I am. When I was in Guild Wars 2, nobody knew that I was Vakarina. Nobody knew about Silver Circle. I didn't tell a soul about that guild. I joined other guilds, I did this and I did that. But I was constantly running into the exact same problems, which told me that a lot of the blacklisting and the how angry people get at me and target my characters and do this whole, I'm going to trip you up and run to mommy and daddy and tattle on you. And I'm going to make, whatever this, and
Whatever
I'm not
it is.
targeting the servants thing. Because it's happened in every guild I've ever
Yeah, I
been
get
in.
what you're saying.
So it's not them, it's me. But I have no idea why. I just know that it happens no matter what kind of character I play.
Because you're a strong, independent woman.
I don't think that's it. Maybe
No, it's not.
I don't even talk OC. So it
Right.
can't. It's got to be something that's filtering in through my RP.
That's the opposite of what's happened to me. I mean, Rajier is a dick. He's a dick. He's blunt. Yeah, everyone loves him for some reason. I'll never get it.
Well, you're the
On the
guild
Ring.
leader. That's different.
No, even
When you
before.
were-
Even before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because when you're a guild leader, you're in charge.
Oh yeah, everyone
Yeah.
wants to smoosh.
Everyone
Yeah, I totally
wants
get
a
that.
piece, and that's why I
They ain't
couldn't
getting
base
none of
anything
this.
off Ocarina. It wasn't until I started in other games where nobody knew who I was, and I started seeing the same patterns. I was like, this is interesting.
I don't have an answer for you. I really don't.
I'm gonna say Servants is a cool guild, but man, there's some Blue Falcons in the lower ranks, bro. Straight, just something that happens they don't like, they will go run up the chain of the command and report it
Okay.
to see if they
It's
can
like, what's a
do
Blue
you in.
Falcon?
They
Blue
pretend to be
Falcons
your
are-
friend, and they pretend to be buddy with you. And the minute you do something they don't like, they run and they tattle on you and try to get you in trouble.
Well, thank you, Strafe, for answering that question.
Sorry.
Blue Falcon is military jargon for buddy fracker. And I'm being
okay.
nice. Because they'll
I
pretend to
get
be
it.
your buddy to your face and then screw you over behind your back.
Give you a nice reach around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
and
unfortunate.
I don't know why, though. I've always been curious.
Jazz, I
But
think
we're
it's just
not-
because you're a bad person.
Well,
Maybe. I
in
don't
the case
know. I don't get it.
In the case of me and Jazz, I think we're outsiders coming in, and the establishment doesn't like us. I think that's
Right.
what the deal is.
Yeah, and I've been in, and I can't remember what caused it. It was actually very innocuous. I think two people that didn't think like I do, or they were talking about something as if it was an absolute. And I was like, well, I think I said something as innocuous as, well, not everybody thinks like that, and I got called a gray shirt for it. That's right, a gray shirt, not a brown shirt, because they weren't good enough at their insult to actually know the history of what they were trying to insult me with.
Oh, yes.
So which immediately I was like, well, do you mean brown shirt? Because you already sound like a dumb fuck, even if you had said it right. But, you know, it was...
Well, now we know why they don't like you. Because
Right. Well, I didn't
I'm
say...
nice.
say-
My characters are not mean. I don't understand.
It happens in all guilds that way. There's
Yeah.
always people that are not going to get along or see eye to eye, and
that's...
whatever.
Right.
So it's
just
gonna,
in general, and
it's
adding politics as an extra layer. Whew. Sweet Jesus.
like
Powder keg,
lore.
man.
Right.
Lots of gray hair.
I just think sometimes in the corner of my head, I think that it's because somehow my experience as being an outcast throughout my childhood, and I was the outcast, I was, teased, I was tortured in high school, and the teachers and the students participated.
You're a role player.
Somehow-
Get in line.
Oh, I know, but somehow my experiences have carried over so that the cool kids hate me on sight. I really would like to change my outfit so they can't tell, but
Well, we
I don't
just
think
got
that's
this
ever gonna
outfitting
happen.
But
system.
I'm a cool guy. I'm a cool kid. And I love you, Jazz.
that's true, and thank you. But
Part of
you're
that-
also open-minded in your role play, so you're
Yeah.
never going to be that person.
You're not
So-
a dick. That's one of the reasons, and I'm not saying this isn't for Jazz, but one of the reasons people, no matter how much you treat people like shit as your characters, Raj, you're also fair.
Yeah.
You listen. You actually in character and out of character. You actually listen. You don't jump off the handle like certain characters might when they have preconceived notions, or they just want their character to be an outright dick, not because there's a reason for it, but just to be a dick. And
Right.
and I'm not saying, like I said, that rule doesn't work with Jazz because her characters aren't like that. So why she gets treated like shit? I think it's because you're a woman. That's why you're a woman.
I'm playing a guy. They don't know I'm a woman. That
Mhm.
doesn't fit.
Well, now they do.
It
Now they
They're
do,
listening.
yeah. But I mean, I'm talking about other games. So it's always just been one of those things. When politics gets involved, I try to stay out of it because I don't want to get pulled one direction or another in a game.
Some of it, Jazz, I think, is the experience you bring with you and your characters. And everybody does it. Everybody has life experience they bring with them. And then some of that thing's easily identified just by mannerisms and whatnot. And I think that's sometimes why people get targeted.
Yeah, that's possible, I suppose.
That and again, they are the establishment cool kids, and we are the newcomers, and therefore we are a threat.
And
That's always how it goes.
There is a certain aspect to all that in a lot of roleplay, but that seems like we could probably do a show on that. So we'll save that for another show. Then, so we'll start wrapping this up. And like I was saying, with the politics, we all know it sucks, and you know, it's in everything. It's in our games. It's in our food stores. It's in our sports stores. It's in every aspect of it. It's people wanted to go to the NFL to get away from politics. There's politics. You wanted to go to video games to get away from politics. Far Cry 5. There's politics.
I'm safe in baseball for now. Don't ruin it.
I still want to play Far Cry 5, even though the setting in America I actually think is an interesting one, and I can get the fact that that's not what they intended because they started the game years before there was a Donald Trump. So don't get upset about something that was in development 2 years before people even knew he was going to run for president.
Well, there are cartoons that were foretelling this. It's the pendulum always swings one way and then the other. So it's not.
If you're going to talk about The Simpsons predicting, there's an interview with there's a fucking interview with them saying, we just chose the person who we think
would be least likely to do it.
Well, yeah, but my point is that regardless of whatever you do by law of statistics, he would have made sense in the sense of a well-known figure with lots of money and lots of connections.
There was somebody that
involved
said
in politics.
that after Obama, who's a clean, to quote Joe Biden, who is a clean guy, Joe Biden, national treasure on really bad things you should never say. That the next president would be let me tell you how it is, kind of overweight fat guy with a stain on his shirt that,
Yes, exactly because that's just the way. That's the way the pendulum, and that's why when people were like, we've done something terribly wrong for this to have happened. No, actually, this is statistically what actually several people were predicting was going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world. It's just infuriating, but it's not the end of the world.
It's the same thing people thought with Obama that, he's going to ruin the country, blah, blah, blah. For those that thought that, you survived the 8 years. Country's still here.
Yes, you
For
did.
those people with Trump that think that same thing, you'll survive this. You will get over it. And it will be okay on the other side. You may not. It's going to be miserable, trust me. I know. You're not going to like a lot of the stuff. But your country will survive. And it may not be the exact same way you had it originally, but neither was it for the other side. And that is a common ground you guys, I say you guys, but people need to understand. People come and go. Like I said, the principles stay the same. The politicians will come and go. And for those of you, this is just a fun extra, because it's always been a fun story I thought was fantastic. For those of you that think politics right now is the worst it has ever been, it has never been more contentious than it is right now. You are fucking wrong. Oh my God, it was so much worse. So let me take you back to the presidency of Thomas Jefferson versus Adams.
I'm totally a Jeffersonian, just saying.
Yeah, he did kind of win. The Jefferson camp accused President Adams. And this, by the way, this was actually one of the first times that a vice president went against the president. It was, I think, the only time in American history that happened. Jefferson's camp had called Adams a hideous hermaphroditical character, which has neither the force and firmness of a man nor the gentleness and sensibility of a woman. That was the
That's
insult.
pretty brutal back then.
In return, Adams' men called Vice President Jefferson a mean-spirited, low-lived fellow, the son of a half-breed Indian squaw, sired by a Virginia mulatto father.
Wow.
Right. Politics used to be fucking
See, in modern terms, you couldn't even say that on the air.
No, you could not. However, for then, both the hermaphroditical and the half-breed Indian squaw thing. By the way, insults back in the 1700s were very well thought out and written.
High-class insult.
Very high-class. Very inappropriate and definitely not very politically correct by literally the last 100 years of standards. But yeah, politics is just, like I said, it's an unfortunate part of life. It's important, but not so important that it should ruin your friendships. And I get it. I've actually lost some friends myself, not because the politics itself or that I disagreed with them, but because the anger and the rage that comes along with it. you can no longer speak to they will no longer speak to you as a human being. But if you've got family members that don't talk, parents and kids that avoid each other because of politics, because both of them will say they just don't get it.
It's pretty funny for me because my mom's side of the family is very conservative and my dad's side of the family is very liberal. Yet when we get together, or when we used to get together, it's just like we're just two friends hanging out.
Exactly. And that's how it... And that's,
don't bring up politics.
Exactly how, and that's fine. And if you do, you're family. You don't give up family because of politics.
Yeah,
nothing is worth losing your family over like that. And I do understand it if you can't do it because they're so adamant or are militant about it. I can understand that.
And as much
you
as
have to still try to reach them.
As much as I hate Facebook and all of its doings and Mr. Zuck and all that shit, I only stay on it because to keep in contact with my family. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Everything else, eat a dick.
And yes, you'd say I think he actually did insult Adam's dick with the hermaphrodite comment. That was, very subtle.
Ishmas, I actually, 3 years ago, got rid of everybody on Facebook except for my family because I was missing the post of my nieces and nephews and all the pictures and everything. So I was like, I'm done with everybody. I just want my family on here so I can see all their little pictures.
Yeah.
So
I just got off it and I can call them, and that's a little more, personal. Look, I'm calling you on the phone like the old days.
Not even 10 minutes ago, I got a friend request from someone who's like, "Oh yeah, live cams. Why don't you come and fucking watch me do this to myself?" And it's like, no, you're fucking bad. Like,
just send me the virus already.
Give me a screenshot and get it over.
But Ash, and I lost buddies from community college for the same reason. It was the tribalism, and it was like I tried to talk to them, and they would just flip out like anger, rage, emotion. They were emotion driven, and I haven't talked to them in years. Every once in a while, they'll drop me a line, but it's like a 2-second conversation, and it's never been the same.
Yeah,
some things are worth putting aside for friends and family.
For friends and family.
Oh, yeah, and I'll always talk to them, but they don't always call.
There's so many other, and that's the thing. I bring up Jazz because her and I we're as if you would listen to the media, we're diametrically opposed. We're
like two different planets.
We're cats and dogs living together. It's mass hysteria. But we don't. We neither one of us, for one, buy into the bullshit of that. She's a good role player. She was a good friend, and she's basically like family now. I've grown up with her family as she's grown up with mine. She was there when I met Sib. She was there when I became a dad. I was there when she became a mother for the umpteenth time.
It's the fourth time.
I like umpteenth. Makes it sound like she's got like 15 billion kids. Like she's from Utah. Hi, Utah people.
I'm sorry, Bob. I'm sorry you have to deal with him.
But
I'm not.
All of this is...
You married him, darling. I feel more sorry for you.
Yeah, says a lot about her judgment. But all of this stuff is why language matters. Speak to people as people, not as a party, not as preconceived notions. Be civil, avoid the name calling. It's hard. Trust me, like I said, I know. It's so easy. It's so much fun. Avoid it anyway.
It is easy to be a troll. It is harder to have a conversation.
Yeah, but if you want a real conversation, you have to take the high road. For one, you may actually get a conversation and learn something out of it. And two, you'll feel better as a human being for it. You won't feel like a pile of shit that says, I'm sorry, I should not have said that later. Go ahead, Strafe.
I was just going to say, I've had the same experience. Me and Jazz, kind of the same deal. And sometimes we get into it, but at the end of the day, either the same day or the next day, but hey, man, look, that got way out of hand. I love you. No amount of derp is worth our friendship. And we always come back together.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
and that's how it should be.
It should. Exactly. And so we're gonna start wrapping it up, right? An hour late.
I would hope so.
It's our 50th episode, so 2 in a row. From now on, trust me, they're gonna be right about 2 hours from now on. These are just last 2 have been exceptionally heavy.
So we get to 69, and
we did. That one will probably be 3 hours long too, just because it's
69 minutes.
That would be awesome if we could pull that off. I doubt it. But the last two topics have been seriously heavy: politics and psychiatric. I mean, come on, they're pretty deep, and you have to give it the proper amount of time. You don't want to rush it. So in finality, finally, think long and hard on what you believe. What I knew Kishmas was going to say something about long and hard on what you believe. So hard. What your core is, what your core principles, what your core values, what you actually believe in. Advocate for what you believe. There is no problem in protesting. Some people are going to think it's stupid. I think a lot of protests are actually very dumb. Some of them aren't protests. Some of them are riots, disguised as protests. Vote. You get one. It doesn't seem like it matters. It does. It means a lot. You don't believe me? For those of you who didn't vote in 2016 and didn't want Trump, look how that worked out for you. You could have stopped that, but you stayed at home. I get it, because you're probably thinking like me, she's awful. And then again, there were people like me, he's awful. So it works out. But you have to vote for the love of God, and all that is holy and just in this world. Keep it the fuck out of guild chat.
Yes, agreed.
Please.
Yes.
I know we say all this.
I'm 22 and I don't need gray hairs.
Right. And I know we say all this. It's still going to be illegal in your guild. Still not going to be able to do it. This is more for you as an individual. Just let it go. Play your goddamn character. Power game all you want to try to be an officer. I don't give a shit. Just don't talk politics. And until
don't do that either. No power game.
Power game over politics. If you had to pick between one, Kishmas, which would you rather them not do?
His brain just short circuited.
Broke our Kishmas, bro.
So we broke him.
Broke our 22-year-old. Where are we going to find another one?
Until the people of the world.
Your local hipster shop.
Not just America, but of
we
the
don't
world.
Want just another one. Sorry.
You're right. Learn to talk to one another as people. Nothing good comes out of it in-game, and it only fractures your guild. So maybe one day we'll have that Star Trek-like utopia and we'll make it. We'll be able to have conversations of ideals and principles and concepts and things like that. But
never with purple Wookiees.
But we're not there yet. So no matter what, remember, general chat is always going to be a shit show, and don't engage in that either. So with that, I am out of shit to say about politics from here on out.
Did we get everybody's ads?
Yeah, we got all 5 of them.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It just sucked because we couldn't hear some of them.
That's why I didn't remember.
Yeah, you couldn't hear mine and Sib's. That's why. And you couldn't.
That's okay. I'm not a singer, as Ashton told me. He goes, "You are not a professional singer. It's okay."
Our singing careers are not going to take off after this, is my prediction. I could be wrong. I sounded pretty good, all right.
I'm still voting for that Maxon guy.
I sounded awful.
Vote
Luke Candelier.
Vote Maxon.
Antonio
Bellows 2018. Bellows 2018.
Say no to purple Wookiees. Vote Maxon.
And you guys get to listen to this for the next 5 months.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
Awesome.
And Yunfei, thank you for that. To quote, I think probably one of the best ideological movies of our age and our generation. Be excellent to each other.
Absolutely.
That works for me.
So, all right. Well, with that, I want to thank every single one of you for joining us today on our 50th episode. Yep. Let's not talk politics. I hope it was a good one. I know we've slowly shed viewers as we went on because it went way long, and I get that. I understand. Hopefully you'll listen to it on your podcast after the fact. So with that, I want to thank every single one of you for tuning in live over at twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio. I want to thank Rahanar for doing an excellent job, and he really earned his lack of pay today with his call creator duties. Keep making sure everyone was good to go for us. And seriously, dude, appreciate you and Yunfei moderating and helping keep everything together for us. It's awesome.
Yes. Thank you both.
So I also want to thank my crew, Jazz, Kishma Sib, Strafe, I am Ashen Phoenix, and next time, Halflings, and why they don't meet the height requirements for political office. Next time on RPMMO Radio. Good night, everybody. Thank you again.
Night, Vogism.
Night.
The thoughts and opinions of those on RPM Radio are just that and should not be taken as gospel truth, especially about politics. Music, as always, is provided by the one, the only Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/Husky by the Geek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music. Good night, everybody!